We are live on Twitch and YouTube. Almost done. Whoa. Okay, we are muted. Thank you for the gift. I'm just gonna do like a couple hour live today, depending on how long it takes. Cause at first I thought I would be at the den helping my dad all day, which I will. I'm gonna take care of him later, so I don't want to be doing this too long. But when I was at the dentist with him and I was reading articles and looking at things, I just was like, oh my god, this is so crazy. I have to show you guys this timeline of Trump corruption. It just getting us live on YouTube. Almost done. Oh my god, just writing the wrong words.
You know that paper is more sophisticated now than computers.
Thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing. A social approach. I like that. I need to learn how to do smaller letters like people do with their names. I really seriously, that's the dumbest thing. I know I should just ask my AI and then it will explain it. But I'm always like, how are people doing that? Like when all MAGA, do you remember when it was a thing with MAGA on TikTok and they all put like in those tiny letters, like mother effin', like, it was like mother effin', mother of dragons, or like mother effin'. Do you remember? And it's like their way of saying they were MAGA or something. Thank you so much for supporting from Australia. I love Australia. I am watching MAFS every day. It's my biggest obsession. Married at First Sight Australia. It's like Married at First Sight in America sucks. Like, I wish we could make Married at First Sight. Hey, Justin, I wish we could make Married at First Sight in America like it is in Australia, because that is the best show in the world. Do you know that people really believe that? Like, I stay up all night, like, to watch that. You guys are like 19 hours later. I have to wait until like Saturday in the middle of the night so I can see it the next time, and it sucks. I love that show. Anyway, sorry. That's one of my guilty pleasures. I like Hawaii. I've only been to Hawaii once. I mean, it was great. I feel bad about being a tourist in Hawaii. That's the thing. It's like once COVID hit and then like all of the content being made from Hawaiians about like don't come, it really made me think about, the indigenous culture of Hawaii and like how we colonized it. And then we're all just showing up there. Oh, this looks good. I was trying to show people like, if I leave my hair like this, it will just get bigger and bigger. Like it will literally be like next week. If I don't do something, it will be like off the screen soon. Like it's absolutely, I was actually going to say, I brought another option. I was going to say I could wear a hat. Look at my new hat. Isn't this cute? But since everyone's decided they want me to look like an electrocuted lion, I guess we could just go with that. That's fine. Oh, give me 1 second. I just realized I want to make sure my dad took his medication. I'll be back in 2 seconds and then I will start the live. So weird how the streams are delayed. It's like 5 seconds later. It's like I wish you could see all the screens I'm looking at. It's funny how the internet works. Okay. Sorry, I'm just checking the group chat. Okay. Joanna's on her way home. She says to tap the screen. Well, she's out here. Reset the gift goal. Awesome. Okay, let me do that. And then we will get, man, do I have some interesting things to share with you guys. I just, so it's so funny because like we're building this community. And when I read an article, it's not like I'm just like, oh, I'm reading this article because I read hundreds of articles. It's like now my first thought is like, I have to tell them, I have to show them this. They have to know. I just read the best article when I was waiting with my dad at the emergency dentist appointment. This is, I mean, I don't know. Don't get your hopes up, but I see it as a little bit of hope. Like, I think because of the fact we don't have a majority, right? There's nothing we can do unless, like I keep saying, Republicans grow a spine and help us, right? We can't do it on our own. We could scream hysterically every single day of our lives. Everybody in Congress could, that's a Democrat. And unless some Republicans decide to push back as well, I don't know what the answer is. So any sign that Republicans are starting to push back, and I start thinking, oh, okay, like this is something. So I'll probably start with this article I was reading. The New York Times is basically reporting we're at 373 subscribers. Let's see if we can get to 400. That is the goal. I'm trying to get to 400 by the end of the week. It is Friday. Oh my God, how pretty. Thank you. I've never seen that gift before. That's so cool. I love the ones with butterflies. Sorry, I'm just updating the gift goal because I'm realizing the more times we reach it, the better we index in the algorithm. And I think I'm getting better. Okay. Now let's open the presentation. Sorry, I probably will refer to articles for this because give me a second. Actually, this first article I'm talking about, I actually screenshotted the entire because I was so fascinated by it. I literally screenshotted the entire article. I have and that way I can expand it if we need to. It will look better. You'll be able to see it better. So this just came out like this morning, a few minutes ago, while like I was at the dentist with my father unexpectedly. And sometimes the New York Times is not great for a lot of, I hate a lot of their reporting lately, but they are very good at reporting on Trump, right? And having like people who will report on what's going on inside the White House, like Maggie Haberman has contacts upon contacts upon, if you don't know who Maggie Haberman is, look that up. But they call her like the Trump whisperer. Like there are times where she has a good relationship with Trump, and then all of a sudden Trump will just be on Truth Social, like absolutely attacking her. We got to check ourselves. Oh, yeah, Japs, I did talk about that yesterday. Yeah, actually, let's talk about that. So we did cover that yesterday. Again, replays are available on YouTube if you want to watch yesterday. But I actually thought about it a lot. So I'm glad you brought that up. So I just want to say this. Because I was a little heated yesterday by things people were saying in the chat. So I just want to say anytime like it seems I'm rude or overly upset about something, it's just because I care. And then like later, I think about it for like 24 hours a day and I'm always just like, oh, are people right? Like, is Hakeem Jeffries bad at his job? And or is Congress not doing enough? And I can just say this, like, 4 years ago, I became obsessed with Congress. Like I talk about how I read Capitol Hill blogs. Like I know the Secret Service code. That's why Punchbowl is called Punchbowl News. I suggest follow Punchbowl News. It will help you understand Congress more. Yeah, I'm just very passionate. Of course but what I'm saying is we all are, right? Like everyone is just passionate. But what I don't want to happen and what I feel like I've witnessed just as I see the world in patterns is as Trump creates chaos, right? As Republicans rob us, as we are watching people commit crimes and steal from us in ways we never even fathomed were possible. What I don't want is us to blame each other, like to say, well, the Democrats aren't doing enough. And I'm not saying don't say that. Like we need to all challenge our reps to do more, but we also need to be realistic about what are their jobs and if they're doing enough. Because I was one of those people, like very much so, I would say like 3-4 years ago, who would say, God, I can't stand these moderate Democrats. Like we've got to get them out of Congress. Like we need more progressives. And in one sense, I still believe that, but in another sense, the more I started reading and researching and understanding patterns and how Congress functions, the more I understood we have to hold swing districts, right? And I was kind of explaining this yesterday. The difference between, the most moderate Democrat and the most progressive Democrat is so minuscule compared to us losing a seat to a conservative who will back. I mean, I don't even know what to call what Trump's doing anymore, just taking over our country illegally and stealing from us. So, yeah, like I would love to see radical change. I was saying that yesterday, like, hey, I'm no, but I guarantee you, I'm left of left of left. My personal views are different than how we affect change. And I had to learn that lesson, right? And like my personal frustrations, what I would like to see is different. And I learned that a lot by watching Bernie Sanders. Like, how does he affect change? He has personal views. He knows, like, oh, this is what's right. This is what's right for the American people. But yeah, I didn't see who said that. It might have been Fender. Yeah. Change is incremental, right? It's inch by inch. So yeah, like we have to stick together, right? Conservatives are sticking together through, I don't know, blackmail, fear, threat of primary, just extreme wealth that says, hey, if you don't do exactly what we say, we're going to run you over. Like, we're not doing it through that. But the only thing we have is sticking together. And like, I promise you, if I ever think someone is not doing their job at Congress, I will be the first person to call them to the carpet and be like, what the F is this person doing? I like truly, I just have realized what it takes to, like, Marcy Kaptur, one of the people I was going through yesterday, the list of those 10 Democrats, because I looked up all of their districts and like how, like, where they are. Marcy Kaptur's in like a Trump plus 9 or Trump plus 7. No, I think she's in Ohio 9, which is a Trump plus 7 district. So, I'd say about half those people are in extreme swing districts, right? The majority of their voters are probably Republicans. So what they do to hang on to their district, I just can't personally judge. The only thing I know is we can't lose one seat. Yes, and then we went over those, right? Yesterday, and again, the replay is available on YouTube, and you can go through this. And then there's about like 5. Like, I think Jim Himes in Connecticut is the worst. He's at like a Harris plus like 20 something district, right? So again, if these are your Congress people and you want to know, hey, why did you do this? Then I would just ask, right? They might have a logical reason, they might not, but I think that's a conversation, fax them, like literally, like we were talking, because they have to legally read that stuff, like we were talking about. But I think like with Jared Moskowitz in Boca Raton, like it's like either Harris plus 1 or Trump plus 1, like whatever that man has to do to hold a district in Florida, I want him to do. Because the worst case scenario is that we lose a seat, right? We are so close. And like, that's why I was kind of like, people in the chat were saying, Hakeem Jeffries isn't doing his job. Hakeem Jeffries isn't doing his job. Like, if I truly, and I believe me, I stay up nights. All I do is analyze who's doing their job and who's not doing their job. I do believe that he is, right? The House, if we want to criticize the Senate, that's a conversation. Like, I don't believe the Senate is doing their job. That's a horse of a different color. But the House, the Dems in the House, they narrowed that Republicans' majority. We gained more seats. Which I don't know if it's possible, but hypothetically, if we won these special elections, we could take back the majority, right? So like that, I mean, they did their job. They narrowed the majority by which the Republicans were holding the House. So is it good enough? I mean, no, but like we all have to fight together. There's only 24 hours in a day. Like, I feel 24 hours in a day like inadequate. Like, what else can I do? What else can I say? Like, how can I explain this in the right way? So I just think we also have to give each other grace, because the minute we start like crucifying and blaming each other, that is what they want. Like we don't, I can't remember which Republican it was, but I remember like right before the election when I had started to get this fear in Arizona because I was working on Kamala's campaign and I was like, oh yeah, I don't think we're going to win Arizona. I remember one of them said, hey, don't interrupt the Democrats when they're standing in a circular firing squad. And I was like, yeah, they're right, right? Like let's not off each other. Like, you know what I mean? Do not help them get rid of each other. That's what we need to. The most important thing is we need to hold seats. I don't know what's going on in the comments. What is going on in the comments? I don't think I should read the comments anywhere because it occurred to me yesterday, like maybe I'm just misunderstanding what people are saying and I'm taking it a little personal. So like, I'm not even sure what's going. Where's Joanna? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If there's any place where I think some people are too comfortable, it's the Senate. But let me even play devil's advocate to that, right? Like, because I've thought about this. I enjoy the direct democracy of this is, the Congress is where we actually have direct democracy, where our votes directly elect people. So then do I want, like, let's talk age limits? Because you'll hear me say a lot of times, yeah, I'm for age limits. Okay, but then do I want Vermont to not be able to elect Bernie Sanders to Congress? No, I don't want that, right? Or like one time I was going on a rant about Dick Durbin and I was like, hey, does Dick Durbin need to be the whip and the chair of judiciary? Like, why doesn't he get out of the way and then let Chris Murphy be the chair or be the whip, like be the, let a newer person have a chance. And then I thought about it and I'm like, and people in the chat were like, we love Dick Durbin. Like, I'm from Illinois. And then that made me think, like, I get that passion because that's how we were in Arizona. Like, John McCain had a brain tumor and we sent him back to Congress and he's the reason the Affordable Care Act wasn't gutted. So, like, I can't tell people in different states, like who to elect through direct democracy. And so that's what I struggle with. I just want you to know, like in my brain, I like debate myself. I have different arguments. I'm never not thinking about these things. That's what I'm trying to say. Like if it ever seems like I'm shutting down a conversation, I'm really not. I'm just like, I've had this conversation literally with myself. I debate both sides all the time. Like, yes, I want newer, younger voices who understand social media, but like, do I want direct democracy to be shut down and them to not be able to elect who they want? Like, it's just tough for me. So that's what I want. I want everyone to know I'm always thinking critically. I'm never I'm always thinking about all sides of things. That's all. It's just complex. And what I think is most important is that we all stick together, right? Like that's what scares me is Trump is creating chaos on purpose to try to divide us. And we're anxious and it's the amygdala, right? I mean, this is the brain. This is how it works. The fear response. We stop thinking logically. We go into fight or flight and we start blaming each other. Yeah, and it's working. That's exactly what I was thinking last night when I was kind of like analyzing all this. And like, that's what I want. And that's what Hakeem Jeffries was saying. Like, he's not going to let this chaos, like, let him lose focus. Like, he's going to control the controllable, understand clearly what he has control over, stay focused on the goal, and keep the coalition in the House together. So that's exactly like what I think is important. So that's like, I think I was trying to express that and then I didn't express it in the best way, but I will always like go back and apologize and say like, oh, I could have communicated better. I could have been more. So I just never want you guys to think I don't listen or like appreciate what you guys say. But like, I think most importantly, what the Republicans do well, mainly by force and through fear, is stick together. And we just need to realize, yes, all of us have some differences. We have different opinions, but now more than ever, we have to keep the coalition together. Yeah, if they can stand by MTG and Bovert, we can stand by Shepard. Well, and that's the other thing. Like, that's super hard for me because I know what the job of the House is. I'm obsessed with Congress. And, like, I promise you, it's all downhill from Hakeem. You think he's not doing his job? I would just say, I don't think you understand what his job is. It's not going to get better. He was elected. He's only been there 2 years, right? He's never had a majority. He's been elected unanimously. So if you don't like that he's in the position of power he's in, then I guess you could vote out your rep that voted for him. But he is elected unanimously. And that's what we want, is to see unity. Our only power when we are in the minority in the House is unity. Sorry. Need one more drink of water and then I'm going to get this crazy party started. This is one of the most interesting articles I've read in a while. And I haven't seen anyone. I was trying to look for clips, but it came out literally a couple hours ago. So I didn't see anyone reporting on it yet. But this is a New York Times article. You can screenshot this. It is in today's outline as well. And everything in today's outline is short and it's going to all be relevant basically to Trump being a grifter. Because Chris Murphy basically made this thread of hey, I'd like to explain what Trump's been up to for 6 weeks, and that is robbing all of you, all of us. And it's brilliant. So we're going to go through that as well. And then, so today's outline, it will permanently, if you ever need resource to remember, how did that crypto grift go? Or what was Trump up to then? That's basically what today's outline is, a resources of all Trump's grifts in the first 6 weeks of office. Let's keep tapping the screen. Yeah, let's get to 50K. We're almost there. It's Friday. It's kind of rainy in Phoenix. Everything feels a little weird today and off. So let's just try to make ourselves feel better. And again, I'm not saying this is a miracle or something awesome is going to happen from this, but do I think it's great that a bunch of Trump's cabinet decided to attack Elmo? Yeah, I do. Because it's about effing, oopsies, I went the wrong way. It's about effing time. They need to attack Elmo. So listen to this. Marco Rubio, Lil Marco, I guess he has a little bit of spine left, was incensed. This is yesterday. He was here in the cabinet room of the White House, the Secretary of State seated beside the president and listening to a litany of attacks from the richest man in the world. Seated diagonally opposite across the elliptical mahogany table, Elmo was letting Mr. Rubio have it. Apparently, and I've read several articles about this, there was a screaming match going on, accusing him of failing to slash his staff. So, and just to be clear, Marco Rubio is technically in charge and in control of USAID. Of USAID. He's the Secretary of State. That is his business, right? So, and the Supreme Court on Tuesday ruled in favor of what Marco Rubio's been saying, that's his purview, that Doge can't fire anyone from there, and that they need to send that aid out. And Elmo has been doing the exact opposite of what everyone has told him to do. So that's what this clash started about. Thank you so much for the gift. Is basically Marco Rubio finally confronted Elmo and is like, hey, now I have the Supreme Court on my side. What the F do you think you are doing, sir? He said, and Elmo's yelling at him apparently and saying, you have fired nobody, Mr. Musk told Mr. Rubio, then scornfully added that perhaps the only person he had fired was a staff member from his Department of Government Efficiency. Mr. Rubio had been privately furious with Mr. Musk for weeks. Ever since Doge team effectively shuttered an entire agency that was supposedly under Mr. Rubio's control, the United States Agency for International Development, right? USAID. But in the extraordinary cabinet meeting in front of the president and around 20 others, details of which have not been reported before, Mr. Rubio got his grievances off his chest. Grow that spine. It's about time. Mr. Musk was not being truthful, Mr. Rubio said. What about the more than 1,500 State Department officials who took early retirement and buyouts? Didn't they count as layoffs? He asked sarcastically. Whether Mr. Musk wanted him to rehire all those people just so he could make a show of firing them again. Then he laid out his detailed plans for reorganizing the State Department. Mr. Musk was unimpressed. I guess he told Marco he was good on TV, with the clear subtext being that he wasn't good for much else. Throughout all of this, Trump is sitting back in his chair, arms folded, as if he was watching a tennis match. This is what Trump wants. Right. This is how Trump's cabinet works. He pits people against each other to fight each other. So like, absolutely, this Trump is sitting there thinking, perfect. Yeah. Who said that? Jeff made a funny comment that I refuse to repeat, but yeah, exactly. Trump's thinking they're all arguing over me. Look at me. I'm God. Look at all my little minions arguing. Exactly. That's exactly what he was thinking. After the argument dragged on for an uncomfortable time, Trump finally intervened to defend Marco as doing a great job. Mr. Rubio has a lot to deal with, the president said. He's very busy. He is always traveling and on TV, and he has an agency to run, so everyone just needs to work together. The meeting was a potential inflection point after the frenetic first weeks of Mr. Trump's second term. It yielded the first significant indication that Trump is willing to put some limits on Musk. Thank mother effing God, whose efforts have become subject of several lawsuits and prompted concerns from Republican lawmakers, some of whom have complained directly to the president. So at least this is my first indication that some people are at least saying, hey, this is out of control and something needs to be done. Cabinet officials almost uniformly like the concept of what Mr. Musk set out to do, reducing waste, fraud, abuse, but have been frustrated by the hacksaw approach, right? So thank God. Thursday's meeting, which was abruptly scheduled on Wednesday evening, right? So this was an emergency meeting they scheduled Wednesday evening, was a sign that Mr. Trump is here. You know, he's being mindful of growing complaints. He tried to offer each side something by praising both Musk and his cabinet secretaries. At least one, Scott Bessent, who has had tense encounters related to Mr. Musk's team, was not present. So Scott Bessent didn't even show up, which is very interesting. Because if I was Bessent, I know I'm ending up under the bus. They're running the economy into the ground. And like, that's supposed to be his purview. I could understand why he didn't even want to be there. The president made clear he still supported Doge's mission, but now was the time, he said, to be a bit more refined in its approach. From now on, he said, the secretaries would be in charge. So that's new. Okay, so Elmo actually is not in charge, just like you've been saying in court documents, the secretaries can be in charge of what's happening. It is unclear what the long-term impact of the meeting will be. Thank you so much. Mr. Musk remains Mr. Trump's biggest financial supporter. Just this week, his super PAC aired $1 million worth of ads that said, "Thank you, President Trump." And Mr. Musk's control of the social media website X has made administration members and cabinet secretaries alike fearful that he will target them in public. But if nothing else, the session had laid bare the tensions with Mr. Trump's team, and news of the sharp clashes spread quickly through senior ranks of cabinet agencies after it was over. This account is based on interviews with 5 people with knowledge of the events. I love this. In a post on social media after the meeting, which I was reading, Trump basically said the next phase of the plan is, and this is what people told him before. He did not come up with these words, by the way. I've heard them before. To cut the federal workforce would be conducted with a scalpel rather than a hatchet. A clear reference to Mr. Musk's scorched earth approach. I love this. for them. Like, let's keep fighting. And this is the most fascinating part, which I'm glad Marco has a backbone or is trying. No, he doesn't. Let's not lie to ourselves, but he's trying. But here's the most fascinating part. Washed up reality stars, I guess Sean Duffy got involved and was also yelling at Elmo. Just moments before the blow up with Rubio, Mr. Musk's and the transportation secretary, the reality star from Real Road Rules Boston or whatever, Sean Duffy went back and forth about the state of the Federal Aviation Administration equipment for tracking airplanes and what kind of fix is needed. Remember, this is the FAA contract that Elmo is just trying to steal from Verizon to give to Starlink. That I showed you the reporting from Rachel Maddow that Elmo's basically stealing a government contract that's almost completed and just being like, no, that's fine. Like, I'm just going to do it. Mr. Duffy said the young staff of DOGE was trying to lay off air traffic controllers. What am I supposed to do? Mr. Duffy said. I have multiple plane crashes to deal with now, and your people want me to fire air traffic controllers? Mr. Musk told Mr. Duffy that his assertion was a lie. Yeah, my guess is it's not. Mr. Duffy insisted it was not. He had heard it from them directly. Mr. Musk asked who had been fired, said, give me their names, tell me their names. He's fighting with these people who are like, what the F? We have a washed up reality star trying to stop planes from falling out of the sky. This is what was going on yesterday in the White House. Mr. Duffy said there were not any names because he had stopped them from being fired. At another point, Mr. Musk insisted that people hired under diversity, equity, and inclusion programs were working in control towers. So I just want to be clear. Again, Elmo's response is like, there better not be any black people landing planes. There better not be any disabled people landing planes. I know. Isn't this interesting? I was reading this while waiting for my dad in the dentist office and like, oh my God, what is happening? What the fuck is going on? Like, somebody needs to report on this. Like, and we got the washed up reality star seems to be the sanest person who's like, no, I'm not firing anyone else. Planes are falling out of the sky and we can't fire any more air traffic controllers. Like, the sanest person is a guy from Road Rules Boston season 6. I'll show you. I said it at the beginning. I'll show you the title of the article. This is in the New York Times. I'll show you at the beginning. Yeah, no women either. Better not. Exactly. No women better be landing any planes. Elmo was probably in a K-hole, not even knowing what anyone was talking about. Mr. Musk insisted that people hired under diversity and equity and inclusion programs were working in control towers. This man is just a weirdo bigot. Like, get this man out of here. Mr. Duffy pushed back, and Mr. Musk did not add details, but said during the longer back and forth that Mr. Duffy had his phone number and should call him if he had any issues to raise. The exchange ended with Mr. Trump telling Mr. Duffy, oh, and Trump's just and this is the man in charge, that Trump had to hire people from MIT as air traffic controllers. These air traffic controllers need to be geniuses, he said. Because, Trump's uncle worked at MIT. So for some reason, Trump believes God help us. God mother effing help us. I don't try to make sense of it, but MIT. Remember Trump, whenever Trump tries to prove he's smart, because he can't, because Trump's own professors are like, he's the dumbest student I ever had when he came to class. Trump goes, I had an uncle who's a professor at MIT. That's what he keeps saying over and over and over. That's why he's mentioning MIT. He says it like thousands of times during speeches. Like, I had an uncle who went to MIT. Like, this is a real thing, an ongoing thing. That's how Trump. So obviously my family is smart. No, and here's the fascinating part. So then Doug Collins, who is in charge of Veterans Affairs, right? More veterans have been fired than any other time in history. and he got involved in fighting Elmo. Keep tapping the screen. Are we tapping? We should be at 100K. Keep tapping, guys. You can do it. Tap the screen, share the live. What I know, Victoria. I know it's ridiculous. Trump has no idea what he's talking about. Imagine like you're actually responsible for running the FAA and you're like screaming like, "Hey, planes are running into each other and this weirdo is trying to fire everyone." And the response from Trump is, hire people from MIT. Like, that's not why they're going to school there, Trump, to be air traffic. Oh, dear God. And by the way, like air traffic control training takes years. So I just want people to understand that. It's not like you just hire someone and they're in the tower tomorrow. Like this is a process. So firing someone is very, very damaging. And that's probably what the washed up reality star Sean Duffy is now starting to realize. He probably talked to someone who's like, I don't think you understand what is going on and how damaging this will be. I'm scared to get on. I'm supposed to go on a plane soon. I'm like, what the is going on? Like, after I read this, I was like, probably have to cancel my flight. The Secretary of Veterans Affairs. So then, right, the guy who's like getting screamed at because all the veterans are being fired gets involved. And he's been dealing with one of the most politically sensitive challenges of all cabinet secretaries. Mr. Musk's cuts will affect thousands of veterans. Thank you so much. I know I probably need to check the live call. A powerful constituency and core part, I lost my place, of the Trump base. Mr. Collins made the point that they should not wield a blunt instrument and cleave off everyone from the VA. They need to be strategic about it. Mr. Trump agreed with Collins, saying they ought to retain, here we go again from the genius orange weirdo, they ought to retain the smart ones and get rid of the bad ones. Now, can we talk about how stupid of a statement that is? The opposite of smart is not bad. So what Trump is basically saying is, thank you for subscribing, Victoria. I appreciate it so much. What Trump is basically saying is, there better not be any disabled people, women, black people, anywhere hired in the VA. I mean, that's what I assume. Yeah, smart. Yeah, exactly. Like, what is smart? What does that even mean? The opposite of smart is bad. Well, then Trump, you are bad and you need to go. Like, none of that makes any logical sense. I'd just like to point that out. That's why this is so crazy, is because like, finally these people are standing up to Trump, and Trump's response is just, hey, I'm an asinine weirdo who doesn't understand words. Thank you for subscribing, Lisa. I appreciate it so much. I know, imagine how scary it is when you're in complete cognitive dissonance. That's what I love for these people, that you think like, oh, this is my fastest way to upward mobility. I just sell out and do whatever Trump says, and it's all going to work out. No, it's not. You're all going to end up under the wheels of the bus. You're all going to get blamed for this. In response to a request for comment, the New York Times, and this part's sick. So then Carolyn Leavitt said, Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, this was her quote when they're like, what happened in this shit show meeting? She's like, as President Trump said, this was a great and productive meeting amongst members of his team to discuss cost-cutting measures and staff across the federal government. Everyone is working as one team to help President Trump deliver on his promise to make government more efficient. Caroline Leavitt, remember that first day in the press, at her first press conference when she said she was going to tell the truth? Thank you so much for the super sticker, just hanging in the YouTube chat. I appreciate you so much. But does anyone remember when they're like, oh, I'm going to tell the truth? And all we've heard, oh, Kraken, you sent me 3 Twitch bits yesterday too, and I did not see that. Thank you so much. They said they were going to tell the truth, and now we're just pretending like this is okay. And Musk later claimed the meeting was very productive. A Department of Veterans Affairs spokesman, this is a quote from, they went to the department, as President Trump has said, it's important to increase efficiency and reduce bureaucracy while keeping in place the best and most productive federal employees. The VA is working with Doge and the rest of the administration to do just that. These people are pathological liars. Most cabinet members did not join the fray. Mr. Musk's anger directed at Lil Marco in particular, seemed to catch people in the room by surprise. So, whilst we hate Lil Marco and we believe he does not in fact have a spine, I guess he's our only, that's what I said. And that's what, when Chris Murphy is like, I regret voting for him. I voted for him because he actually is qualified, but he's proved to me now he's not. But it appears he still is the only sane person in there. Like, he is the sanest one. Hey, Zach, he is the sanest one of all the wackos. Mr. Musk's anger directed at Mr. Rubio in particular seemed to catch people in the room by surprise. One person with knowledge of the meeting said. Another person said Mr. Musk's caustic responses to Mr. Duffy. We got the washed up reality star willing to just jump in and start yelling. Hey, maybe unqualified people will fight for us. And Lil Marco seemed to deter other cabinet members. So basically what this guy is saying is that, like, they started challenging him and be like, hey, I got planes falling out of the sky and I've got people starving and the Supreme Court just ruled against you. Like, USAID is my purview. Get out of the way. And they're saying basically Elmo acted so nuts and screamed so loud that basically other cabinet members are more scared now to speak up. Wake up, cabinet members. This is it. Like, and that, if you would have told me it would have been the washed up reality star who was like, nope, I agree with Lil Marco. Like, I'm going to scream that we need to do something. I would never have guessed it. But hey, heroes come in strange packages. Whatever. But someone said they would need to know what this article was. Here, let me get to the beginning again. This is a New York Times article. It just came out. They're like it. No, I have seen no other reporting on it. They have 5 sources who were inside the meeting. So that's the other thing. Basically, cabinet officials are leaking this stuff or their aides, but I don't know if people's aides are in these meetings. So. Inside explosive meeting where Trump officials clashed with Elmo. This was an impromptu emergency meeting scheduled, like it was not previously scheduled, that happened yesterday, where apparently Lil Marco and the washed up reality TV star went to bat for people. Yeah, I imagine this article is doing well. The second it came out, it was starting to index well and I mean, it's fascinating. This is I bet hopefully Rachel will talk about it and like tell some amazing story with it. Yeah, it's awesome. This is fascinating stuff. Like the cracks are Lil hey, I didn't name him Lil Marco. Trump did. Remember when Trump started calling him Lil Marco when he tried to challenge him in the primary? That's where I got that from. But it appears Lil Marco is the only one with a semblance of a spine. Plus, I don't want to celebrate Lil Marco too much because he has the backing of the Supreme Court. And now the federal judge, like the Supreme Court ruled against Trump, and then the federal judge basically said, you need to start returning that money and that, and release the food. So he has the courts on his side too. So I think that's why he's getting pretty big for his britches at this point. But I found this other clip, so I just want to show you this. So whilst this is going on, hold on, I've got to switch spots in the presentation. I saw this like local news report, and I'll show you where I found it as well in case you want to. So just I know you guys hate being on X, and I don't blame anyone, but this is where I got the. It's for Derek Van Orden. Is he from Wisconsin? Like this, it's from a Wisconsin poster. But it's a local news report, and it's about. Well, you'll hear, this is insane. So imagine the guy in charge of Veterans Affairs who's getting all this heat, like, we fired thousands and thousands of veterans. Now reports are coming out, you're going to fire 80,000 people that work at the VA. Like, what are you guys talking about? And Derek Van Orden, who's one of the biggest Trump simps, is he from Wisconsin? Where is Representative Derek Van Orden? Where is he from? Sorry, working on my mental health. Me too, Wolverine. No, don't say sorry. I'm working on my mental health right now while I'm sitting here. I'm sorry too. If you're apologizing to me for something, I'll just apologize to you, because also I'm a work in progress as well. If I'm ever rude or I seem like I'm angry, I promise I'm not. Deep down inside, I'm a sweetheart. And I love you, Wolverine. Thank you. No, truly, I'm also working on my mental. So no, he is from Wisconsin. That's what I thought. I just couldn't remember. Does anyone know what district? Because I'm pretty sure he's one of the ones that tried to have a town hall and they like booed, and then they like, oh, he's the one. Now I'm remembering. He's the one that had a town hall and people signed up and had tickets, and then he moved it like across town and didn't tell anyone. And there were like picketers like, I signed up for this town hall. Like, what the I was like, so he saw, and then he moved it to a secret location and just invited like people he knew wouldn't yell at him. So think about that. Yesterday, there's a secret meeting where finally Lil Marco and the washed up reality star in charge of the Federal Aviation Administration get the nerve to tell Elmo he's ruining everyone's lives. Oh, and Doug Collins, who's in charge of Veterans Affairs, is like, this is a nightmare. Like, what's going on? And then I see this. Oh, I probably have done mute. Yep. Hold on. Keep tapping the screen. Let's get to 100K. We can do it. Tap, tap, tap. I know it's Friday. Today seems weird. That's okay. If you want to subscribe. I appreciate you all. This is Cash App and Venmo. 25% of whatever I make this week will be going to Fax. He needs to raise a few thousand. His son was put into a substance abuse treatment center, so I'm trying to help him out with that as well. Okay, prepare yourselves. Derek Van Orden is awful.
Wisconsin's 3rd Congressional District, Derek Van Orden, is under fire for a message he sent to a veteran and a former VA employee. The message has gone viral, showing the representative threatening to report the man to the Department of Government Efficiency. Tonight, we have a response from Van Orden.
Picture, they're trying to stand up to Elmo and other Republican reps. If you are in Wisconsin, this is what your Congress people are doing. They're terrorizing veterans and saying, I'm going to report you to Elmo and get you fired.
And calls for action from the man he messaged.
He bullied me to the sense where he admitted, I'm going to turn you in a doge and get you fired.
Tony Ruiz describes himself as a proud Army veteran. He served 2 years overseas in Germany, driving the Abrams battle tanks. The VA hired him in February 2024 as a veteran service representative. Almost exactly 1 year later, he says he was fired.
So to make the story even more tragic, I'm not only a veteran working for the VA, but I'm actually 80% disabled. So they say they fired somebody who's literally disabled, who served this country and would have died for this country.
Ruiz says roughly a week after his termination, he reached out to Congressman Derek Van Orden.
Hey, Mr. Van Orden, you're a congressman. Do you care about the veterans? You said nothing about us. He literally says to me, I'm a congressman in the VA committee, and this and that, and I'm going to turn you into Doge.
You can see the message here. Van Orden says, I have absolutely no say in the employment status of any individual in the executive branch. However, I will be referring you to Doge, as it seems that at 13:46 on a Monday, you should have been working for veterans, not posting trash about your boss, President Trump. But remember, Ruiz sent this message after he had been fired, so he was not working when he sent it. Ruiz says he only reached out to Van Orden because his behavior in congressional meetings stood out to him.
He's always yelling at the VA guys. He's got a loud mouth.
But Ruiz says he felt Van Orden's response was the opposite. It's also a very similar response the congressman gave to 27 News.
Shows you how much he cares for veterans. Tells you a whole bunch. Tells you a whole bunch. Latino.
Ruiz says he'd like a meeting with Van Orden.
I want a meeting with Van Orden, or I want to see if he can call me to Congress and testify. I think that's good. And then we'll see who's the loudest guy in the room.
Then we'll see who the loudest guy in the room is what he just said. But I just want you remember the article I just read you. What Musk was yelling over and over, as we know from his history, right, of growing up in apartheid, was that, oh, there's still DEI people working. This is a disabled Latino veteran who was disabled in combat in Abrams tanks. And so, yeah, according to that meeting and what is being reported coming out of it, these are the people they don't want because Trump has an issue with disabled people. He thinks they're icky, as we well know, from his constant past of being like, don't make me look at disabled people. And he doesn't like brown people. So this makes perfect, like, that's why I want to show you, like, this is real life, people. This is affecting people who deserve our respect and our support. Like, he supported us he fought for America in war, was injured while fighting in Abrams tanks, and then we're like, oh, let's terrorize him and fire him from his job. This is who Donald Trump is. That's why we need to stick together, because we don't need to be fighting each other, because this is the most disgusting things I've ever seen. And now I wish it was I'm laughing so I don't cry. I actually am about to tear up. I I wish it was gonna get better, but it's the reason that I was like, because like I said, I had to take my dad to the dentist. He had an abscess. It was an emergency. And so I wasn't thinking I was going to be able to do a live, but it all worked out and things happened faster. And then while I was waiting at the dentist, I was doing more research as I always am. And I could not believe, like, Chris Murphy is a star. Like, if there's anyone in the Senate working hard to do something and to make, well, not just to do something, but to educate us, to make sure it's very clear, because that's what I need as somebody who's trying to do this show, The People's Receipts, is like, give me the information I need so that I can, like, push it out and help people understand what's going on and make it clear. Like, okay, there's corruption happening, like, spell it out for me, make it perfectly clear, and then I can make more content off the back of yours. And this morning, like, first thing, Chris Murphy puts out this thread just being like, oh, I've now detailed all of Trump's corruption for the first weeks of his presidency. And he was like on the House floor first thing Eastern time this morning with this giant poster board just being like, Trump is a POS. And I was just like, this is what I'm saying. Chris Murphy is my hero. So whilst Jim Hines, for some reason in a Connecticut plus Harris plus 23 district, decided to vote to censure Al Green, at least you still have Chris Murphy, who is amazing. So anyway, oh, you guys can't see. I was like, why can't you guys see the presentation? I'm so confused. Let me update the gift goal really quick. Keep tapping the screen. Are we at 100K? Awesome. Let's get to 150K. I just need to make sure I update the goals, because once I get into this, I know it's going to be harder for me to focus. Okay, I don't need to. We're almost there. Give me one more second. Let me update one more thing. I'm trying to get to 400 subscriptions today on TikTok. If you can subscribe, please do. There we go. Okay. And now I just need to make it so you guys can see this presentation. Hold on. Let me just, hopefully it won't close. Okay, perfect. So this is what I'm talking about. And again, this is in the Discord, in the live sources section, in the outline. All of these replays are available on YouTube, but I'll just show you, like, on X, or I assume on, because these are government sanctioned accounts, I assume on Blue Sky as well. It's at Chris Murphy CT. Right? Like, because he's from Connecticut. So I suggest, and I noticed that all of these clips are broken down into under a minute. So I assume that's so he could put it on Blue Sky too. I was like, whoever's doing this for him is smart, because then he can also put the majority of these on Blue Sky. So he basically started a thread, which, if you don't know what a thread is, it's like several posts where you're basically telling a story. So he basically just said, he posted this early this morning and was like, I went to the Senate floor to lay out for my colleagues. Thank you, Lucretia is the prettiest name. I love the Italians. Lucrezia is one of my favorite people in history. I love that name. I went to the Senate floor to lay out for my colleagues the sudden story of brazen, open corruption during the first 6 weeks of Trump's presidency. I think it's a story everyone needs to know. So here's a thread with the highlights from the speech. When I say like he tore up the Senate floor this morning, at least we do have one Democrat who's on it in the Senate, and his name is Chris Murphy. I can't wait. I'm so glad you said that, Donna, because this is why, honestly, the reason I didn't show you guys my real hairs, because like people used to make fun of me for it, but you guys seem to like me looking like an electrocuted lion, so maybe I'll just keep it going. But again, so this is the chart I'm talking about, which I'll show. We'll go through the chart after because he also put it in a PDF. And all of these links to everything you're about to see, I have put in the Discord. This will be available later on YouTube, or I've showed you what his account looks like. He's on Blue Sky. He's all over. But Chris Murphy, now that Gavin Newsom decided to have Charlie Kirk on his podcast, like maybe Chris Murphy can be president. Who knows?
The things that have happened over the last 6 weeks are unprecedented. The president and his billionaire friends are not supposed to steal from us. They are not supposed to use their power and their access to power, their access to government levers, to rig the rules to enrich themselves. That has always been wrong. It is still wrong. And we do not have to accept this. And so in the next few minutes, I want to try out an exercise. I want to try to lay out for you as quickly as I can just some of the most significant instances of blatantly corrupt activity that's happened in just the first 6 weeks of Trump's presidency. When you see it all together, there is no way to avoid a simple conclusion. This White House is on its way to being the most corrupt in the history of the country. And just because they are doing it out in the open for everybody to see doesn't mean that the things that have
So true. That is the truth. It's almost like, hey, if we do this out in the open, and okay, so this is something I've been realizing over time. Like I said, I see the world in patterns. What Trump is doing is he's just saying, now I get why he wasted all these well, I mean, I don't think he cares about wasting our money, but why did he do all this? Why did he spend so much money to discredit Biden? So we would have to sit in debates on TikTok and listen to uneducated weirdos be like, what about the Biden crime family? Because he flooded the zone with so many lies and so much shit, convincing everyone, oh, that's what every president is doing. Every president was stealing from you. Every president was enriching themselves. So now his theory is, I will just do it blatantly out in the open, and I will just act like everyone's doing it. I'm just doing it too. And I don't want to say it's smart because I don't think it's hard for me with Trump because he's smart, but Trump will do anything to steal from anyone. And he's great with television, right? Like he's great with marketing. So he knows I'm going to normalize this. I'm going to convince the United States that my corrupt behavior is true across the board, that anything I have done, Biden did too. It will normalize it. And then when I get back in the office, I'm just going to grift the shit out of everyone. And everyone's just going to say, this is just how it is. They're stealing from us all the time. Yeah. And they say he's so true. It's fair. It's like, what, are we in a nightmare? Okay. So, and I'm going to play this clip. And then I was going to play a more detailed clip about the crypto scam. And then I have articles and stuff too. So I'll add to it. But yeah, he's like, the first point is Trump's crypto coin scam, which is a goddamn crime. Well, wait, not since Trump got in office and made sure the SEC was not going to do any oversight of crypto coin memes, of meme coins anymore. So maybe it's not technically because Trump has deregulated it completely.
We're going to start on January 17th. On January 17th, Trump launches the meme coin. This is maybe the most corrupt of all the acts because what is the meme coin? The meme coin is essentially a mechanism by which Russian oligarchs or corporate CEOs can literally send money privately directly to Donald Trump. Nobody knows who buys the meme coin, but Trump makes money when people buy it. And so it is just an open sewer valve that allows.
Just say, let's never forget those words. An open sewer valve is the best way I've ever heard that described. It is. It's an open sewer valve for corrupt people to funnel money to the, 34-time felon Queen's mob boss. That is what it is. It's an open sewer valve, an untrackable, untraceable way to tell who is funneling that money, who is pumping up the value of the coin.
Buy it. And so it is just an open sewer valve that allows for anybody who is trying to influence the Trump administration to be able to secretly funnel money to Donald Trump. He reserves 80% of the coin. He waits to release that coin until the price jumps back up again, which essentially means he's waiting for people who want favors from him to buy a bunch of the coin to inflate the value so that he releases more and makes more money.
I want to just challenge, if anyone from MAGA is in here listening quietly, I just want to challenge you to think. The same way you guys are always like, the Federal Reserve is corrupt, the Federal Reserve is corrupt. Trump has his own Federal Reserve. He's running a corrupt sewer valve Federal Reserve in which he has reserved 80% of the coin. He waits for corrupt people who are trying to bribe him to drive the value up, and then he releases more money from the Fed, from Trump's Fed. Like, are you getting it now? Is it all becoming clear? Exactly what you said Trump was going to drain the swamp of is what he is now doing.
It's a disgusting kind of corruption because this is essentially Trump just posting his Venmo for anybody secretly to wire him as much money as they want. We've never seen something like this before, where anybody who has anything to gain from the Trump administration through a manipulation of the value of Trump's meme coin can funnel money directly to the president, whisper in his ear, that was me. That was me that purchased all that coin, that jumped up the value, that allowed you to release new coin. Hey, take care of me on the back end. We're going to start on January.
Take care. That was me. Exactly. Just a nudge, nudge. That was me. That was me. Right? Hey, the person that drove up that coin's value, remember, because it's a lot better. And I was explaining this before it all started happening. Now I think it's more clear. But I was saying, right, when he used to have, it used to be if you wanted to bribe Trump, how did you do it? You went and stayed at his hotels and spent exorbitant amounts of money, like overpaid times 1,000. But then it was a lot easier for journalists to track that, to follow that, to say, oh, the Saudi princes are in the lobby of the damn hotel again, right? This is completely untraceable. The corruption, and actually, let me go off this thread we're on because I want to just. He made another video I was going to show you guys yesterday about specifically the Trump coin grift, and it's longer and in more detail. So I want to show you guys this. Oh, and thank you, Johnny Longtrail, for the super chat on YouTube. Why is Elmo yelling at anyone? Flick off, Elmo. I agree. He needs to. I'm so glad little Marco decided to yell back, and the washed up reality TV star now running the FAA. So hopefully this is the start. I mean, this is, I don't know. Like I said, that's what Trump wants, them to all eat each other alive and end up under the wheels of the bus. And Trump will just say, oh, that wasn't me. It was all of them. This is always what Trump does. They're all doing what he wants, and then he'll blame them in the end. Anyway, so yeah, if you want to look up, this is the Breaking Down Trump's Meme Coin with Senator Chris Murphy. It's on. This is a long on Blue Sky, so you would have to go look for it on his X account, which is at Chris Murphy CT. But again, the link is in the bio, and you can just replay the live on YouTube after if you don't want to go risk your life on X. I don't blame you.
Trump has done a lot of shady, self-interested shit since taking office, but I want to talk to you about the worst of the corruption. The Trump coin. This is a pure grift. Okay, so Trump coin, it's a meme coin. So it's got no independent value. Its price is just a function of demand. So if a lot of people want it because they like Donald Trump, then its price goes up. If nobody wants it, then its price plummets. So Trump launches this coin right before the inauguration. Why? Because he wants to make sure that his MAGA supporters, who are like wild with enthusiasm about the inauguration, would buy up a ton of the coin at the outset. It worked. Prices jumped from 18 cents to $75 a piece, and Trump's net worth on paper, it swelled to like $56 billion. And when it fell back down, the price of the coin fell back down to $17. A ton of his supporters who bought it at the top lost actual real money. Okay, but the crash, it doesn't matter to Trump because Trump gets a transaction fee. He's made $100 million, probably a lot more, just in trading fees, while many of his supporters have lost thousands of dollars. Okay, but that's not the worst. Trump holds back 80% of the total coin. And what he's going to do is release more when prices get high again. Because in addition to the transaction fees, he gets paid on that initial release of the coin. So how does the price get high again? Well, demand goes up. And who is in the best position to buy a ton of coin to drive up the price? Foreign governments and billionaire CEOs who have business interests before the Trump administration. Now, you might say that's illegal, but it's not. Nothing prevents, like a Russian oligarch, from buying a ton of Trump coin in order to put money directly into Trump's pocket. And even worse, we will never know if the buyer is a Russian oligarch or a Saudi prince or an oil company CEO because it's all secret. In the first minute of trading, one buyer purchased around 6 million Trump coins, sending the price through the roof. One buyer was able to send the price through the roof before that buyer sold the entire supply for a 2-day profit of more than $100 million. Reporting suggests that in this case, the buyer was probably actually coming out of, wait for it, China. When Trump cashes out, he's not doing it through a mainstream exchange. He's doing it through unregulated Chinese exchanges. Why? Because he's hiding something. Either the source of the money or the people connected to him that are getting the payments. Because on a mainstream exchange, you might have a modicum of background checks done on the cash outs. The Chinese exchanges are totally dark. So while the Trump coin may seem like some silly, hard to understand online fad, it could end up being the most fundamental corruption in the history of the presidency. It's as if Trump is posting his Venmo or his Cash App handle and inviting corporations and foreign governments to just send him cash in secret.
Amen. Well said, Chris, my new favorite person in Congress. I think he's doing an amazing job. Let me go back to where we were. And Benny said something funny, like, I don't get it. Like, what if Trump's not buying a few decades more of life, what he was doing? What is he doing? Yeah, and I know because you feel that way because you're sane. And I used to make that mistake too. I was raised by a malignant narcissist, and I can tell you 100% for sure they believe they're God. So what you have to understand is like you as a sane person are thinking, well, I can do math and like he eats McDonald's every day. Like he can't be alive for that much longer. That's not how they see it in their mind. They do not see it like that. And I was talking about this the other day. Like I have this theory that because narcissists truly believe they are 100% healthy, nothing is ever going to go wrong. It's almost like they're anxiety free. Like I have a theory, like we should study them and see if they actually remain healthier by believing they're God. Because it's fascinating. Oh, I know, Nisi. Chris Murphy is showing up and showing out. And it only gets better. Just wait. That's why I'm like, I was not going to do a live today, but since Chris Murphy is working this hard, I'm going to work harder, like, because we cannot miss this. But I'm just saying, like, Trump, if you think Trump in his head is thinking, oh, yeah, I've only got 20 years, like, what is the point of this? He's not thinking that because my mom's not thinking it either. Like, I'm fascinated by watching her. It's like, what is going through these people's minds? Trump changes the rules, and I was talking to you guys like well, and I played the video for you guys like Rachel Maddow after that fiasco in the White House last Friday with Zelensky. Rachel Maddow like torched Trump on her show on Friday night. She's like, let's just get into all the things that Trump has done to support Putin and all the things he hasn't done or done to damage Ukraine and Zelensky, right? And that this is one of the things I was talking to you guys about. He's changing the rules of people acting as foreign agents on US soil. Like if you want to act as a foreign agent on US soil, otherwise known as a spy, you need or do it legally, you need to register and say, hey, I'm in the US acting on behalf of Egypt, or I'm in the US acting on behalf of Qatar, right? Like, otherwise, you are operating nefariously, right? Like, we think you're acting in the interest of the US. Either register as a foreign agent or you're doing something illegal. Well, part of what Trump has done to let Putin do whatever he wants in our country is said, oh, we're not going to like prosecute people acting as like non-registered foreign agents on US soil. Basically saying, hey, Russia, you can send your foreign agents, your spies here to lobby me for Putin. They don't need to register, and I won't do anything about it. Yeah, the dark money is flowing. Like, you can send your emissaries here to bribe me. Come one, come all. But and spread misinformation, spread disinformation. We've stopped our operations to prevent Russian misinformation and disinformation, like cyber operations. Basically, Trump is allowing a full takeover of the US of Russian propaganda and Russian lies and Russian money to flow into the country. Not to say it can't come from other countries as well. I think Trump is an equal opportunity corruption, equal opportunity employer of corruption. I don't think he cares where the money comes from, but I'm just saying, I think most of this package has been designed to help Putin.
On February 6th, something absolutely stunning happens. Pam Bondi, the AG, issues a memorandum in which she proposes to dull the criminal enforcement of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. If you are representing a foreign government before the United States, you have to register so that we know if you are acting on behalf of American interests or you are acting on behalf of foreign interests. In the prior Trump administration, Trump officials got in big trouble for secretly working for and getting paid by foreign governments without.
Yeah, that's why, Russia, when Trump says that it was all a lie, that's what it's all about. Trump had people actively employed by his campaign operating as foreign agents on U.S. soil, spies for, I don't know, what was it? Oh, yeah, Russia. That's why Paul Manafort was, in fact, in jail, because he was accepting Russian money and acting and not registering as a foreign agent on U.S. soil.
Registering. Well, what does Trump announce? That they are going to limit the applicability of the enforcement of that statute, making it much easier for Trump's friends, for his MAGA crowd, for the people who show up to Mar-a-Lago, to get paid quietly by foreign governments in order to influence Donald Trump. On February,
and you are about to be so sickened. Oh my God, this is real life. In case this is corruption at its finest. You are not imagining things, but Trump was corrupt in his first presidency. It's just so brazen now. It's so brazen now. The only question is he going to yield to the Supreme Court? Like, what happens then? Like, is he going to release the U.S. aid money? Michelle, thank you so much for the $20. I appreciate you so, so much. You don't know what that means to me. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm just checking, make sure I'm not missing any other messages. My brain is all over the place today. You know how it is. It's Friday. We're surviving. Okay. Oh, yeah. And then there's this, which again, I just want to stress if you haven't joined the Discord, join. Any link in any of my bios goes to Linktree. And then in there is a link to join the Discord. In the live sources section is this whole outline. And pretty much all of the articles I've included are just. If you want to do more research into what Chris Murphy is talking about, if you want more articles, if you like, oh, I need to know more about this. I pretty much included all the damning articles that you can read about, and things I've already taught you guys about or whatever, so that like, oh yeah. And you can use, I think today's outline is pretty small, but it's a good resource of like Trump corruption.
On February 10th, maybe aside from the meme coin, the most stunning act of corruption, the Eric Adams quid pro quo, in which Eric Adams, indicted for corruption, is let off the hook. His charges are dismissed in exchange for the mayor's pledge of political loyalty to Donald Trump. They literally went on TV and announced the deal that we're getting rid of the charges against Eric Adams as long as the mayor pledges political loyalty to the president. That was so corrupt that 6 or 7 DOJ officials resigned because they refused to withdraw those charges. But the deal went through because the 7th or the 8th or the 9th official finally filed the withdrawal. And now in America, it is 100% clear that if you want to get away with corruption, if you want to steal from your constituents and you're an elected official in this country, all you have to do is just sign up for political loyalty with Donald Trump, and he will instruct the Department of Justice to let you get away with it.
Effing men. Hold on. I just want to show a little bit more about that. And again, anything I'm about to show you, there is a link to it in the Discord as well. I took so many I was so angry when I was going through all this. I was like just screenshotting things angrily. All right. So this is, and again, I put links in the outline in the Discord to all of this. But if you want to just screenshot this is a New York Times article. This would be a great starting point for you to understand the corruption. I keep saying that's why I was reading. People are like, why are you reading a 70-page indictment to us back in September? Because I had never heard of corruption and fraud and theft from the taxpayers on that level before when I read Eric Adams' indictment. It's better than a crime novel. Don't watch a movie, read about Eric Adams' crimes. So this is something I put in the Discord and have talked about, I think 2 other times this week, because I'm not going to let it go. This Danielle Sassoon is a Federalist Society lawyer. If you don't know what the Federalist Society is, it's a society of crazed right-wing, pretty much exclusively Christian nationalist lawyers that was built by Leonard Leo to be a funnel of federal judges, of lawyers who were ready for federal judgeship to, become federal judges. And then, yes, the family, there's a documentary called The Family, if you want to read more about all of this. Also, oh my God, I haven't read it yet, so I don't want to throw it out there. But ProPublica also is talking about, just this week came out with like another expose that's like implicating Mike Johnson and more S. But yeah, she's a Federalist Society lawyer, a conservative Republican who was like, hey, I'm quitting because Eric Adams is guilty and I'm not going to pretend he's not. And I just wanted to remind you, these are the annotations. So this is from her resignation letter, and these are the annotations. Sassoon accuses Beauvais and Adams of engaging in a quid pro quo to drop the case, calling it breathtaking and dangerous precedent. According to Sassoon, when this quid pro quo was discussed in a recent meeting, Beauvais criticized, and if you don't know who Beauvais is, he's like the number 2 at the DOJ now, but he was Trump's lawyer during the Stormy Daniels hush money case. That's how Trump knows him. That's how Trump also became a 34-time felon. So we're hiring losers, just to be clear. But and actually, by all accounts, Emile Beauvais is an experienced lawyer. I don't want to pretend he's not, but he did lose that case. But according to Sassoon, when the quid pro quo was discussed in meetings with all the lawyers in the DOJ, Beauvais criticized one of her staff members for taking notes and collected those notes at the end. So people are like, I'm sorry, what are we doing? We are dropping a very obvious charge. We're dropping a case where someone is obvious. Dinosaur. I love dinosaurs. Cootery, think back to our group chat when you were telling us about that Discord you were in. And that's really funny. Is that why you sent me that? Because that's all I can think about now every time I see a dinosaur. Cootery was showing us books about dinosaur corn. It's a real thing if you don't know. Like, you can look it up. They're on Amazon. I looked it up for like 6 hours. Sorry, sorry, that's my ADHD. But according to Sassoon, when the quid pro quo was discussed, they confiscated. I know what. Yeah, that's our mod group chat. Don't wonder. It's all true though. I did the research. It's a real thing. Hey, don't kink shame anyone. If you're into women, I don't know what, being taken by dinosaurs. I don't. That's a thing. I'm sorry. I learned about it on Monday. I. Or wait, no, it was Wednesday. In all fairness, it was Wednesday. There's books about it that you can buy on Amazon. Yeah, don't kink shame. I just wasn't aware. I didn't know. I just I was new to that fetish and now I understand that people are into dinosaurs. I get it. I love dinosaurs, just not in that way, in kind of like the paleontologist way. So anyways, I'm just showing examples of bribery while also talking about weird things that no one understands. Sassoon drops a bit of a bomb here, at least to anyone outside the Justice Department. And I'm just saying, as a pretty smart person who read every page of that indictment, and I could say, oh yeah, this is another slam dunk federal indictment. Like, it's a paper trail of corruption. It's like his text messages be like, did you delete those text messages that say I'm guilty? Like, it's ridiculous. Sassoon dropped a bit of a bomb here, at least to anyone outside the Justice Department. She says that prosecutors in her office have sought permission to add obstruction and conspiracy charges against Adams for destroying evidence and instructing others to lie to the FBI. That request for a superseding indictment, that means like, hey, we put out that in first indictment, but in light of other evidence we've uncovered, we'd like to put out another indictment with more charges, was not approved. Like in the first, let me just give you one example. In the first indictment, Eric Adams is like refusing to like open his phone, pretending it's broken. Like, this man is the most corrupt person. He's a former police captain in New York City. Like, we shouldn't be surprised. No offense, but most police officers seemingly don't have any sense of ethics. And I think Eric Adams is proving it. I just want to read these two other things. And hey, I just read the indictment that's available to the public, but she says, Sassoon, who has reviewed the evidence in the case that has not been made public, so there's more, says she is confident Adams committed the crimes he was charged with, despite the mayor's assertions of his innocence. So remember, what have I spent the week doing? Showing you videos of Eric Adams under oath being like, I did not commit any crime, which the Republicans allowed him to be subpoenaed. So they have him by the BALLS. Did I spell that right? ALLS? Yeah. I mean, think about it. This case was dismissed without prejudice. Anytime Trump wants to bring it back up, he can. Now they have him under oath in Congress lying. Like, he is in what they call a pickle. Sassoon reminds Bondi of the Attorney General's own recent order calling on prosecutors to make good faith arguments, which she can't do here. This is corruption. And actually, I'm just going to show this now because it'll become valuable later. But the reason that I'm so glad Chris Murphy did this is because last night, if you didn't notice, Trump signed an executive order. And what's it about? It's about creating a crypto. He's using our money to back up. He's creating a strategic crypto reserve to back up his BS cryptographs. Like, this is real life, people. Now, let me go back to Chris Murphy's presentation. We were on just after the Eric Adams stuff. I think we have like 3 more. And everyone is worse than the last, unfortunately. Yep, we're on 5. Do I need to update a gift goal? Probably, huh? I heard a noise. I hear noises that are like, I know what those mean. Hold on. Yep, got it. Doing it now. Thank you for someone reminded me. Thank you. Got that. And I think I need to update the other one too. Just don't let this get you down. Knowledge is power. Like, it's good to know these things. It would be worse if we didn't. Like, that's why it's important. Like, sometimes I know this stuff gets overwhelming and we're like, what the F is going on? But it's better to know than to not know. So then on number 5, Chris Murphy saying Elmo, and this is what Rachel Maddow was calling out, and I was playing videos of, that basically Elmo is combing through government databases with Doge and finding federal contracts he wants for his own shit companies and canceling them and giving them to himself, which I heard Rachel Maddow talk about it. I read some basic articles, but I was reading some more detailed articles, of which I put a link to today. Oh, it's so bad. It's real. It is happening. Verizon basically completed hundreds of millions of dollars of work, and they might not pay them and just give it to Elmo. Like, this S is insane.
On February 26th, maybe the third most significant of brazen corruption happens. News breaks that Elon Musk is just going to have the FAA cancel a contract with Verizon that has been in the works for years and instead just substitute in Starlink for Verizon. Just extraordinary that this is happening in plain view of everybody. Elon Musk takes his private company, uses his access to government to just shove out of the way his competitors and instead insert himself and his company. Again, we've never seen this ever before in American history. Now it's happening on a daily basis. On February 26th, maybe.
Sorry. Isn't this crazy? It's so interesting and I put this map in the Discord. I'll show you it in a second. But when you see it, it's like a calendar that is showing you just all of what's along the sides with the itemized out corruption of, like, the progression of Trump just stealing from all of us in real time. It is a fascinating chart where you're just like, and I don't even think, and I was thinking, like, this is probably not even all it. Like, I could add like 3 or 4 more things. Like, he has some great researchers working for him. Julie, thank you so much for the $25. Said you're awesome. No, you're awesome, Julie. Vicky, thank you for the $25. Your live today is incredibly great. Not only that, but this is one of your best yet. Thank you for sharing Chris Murphy's, and it cut off. I assume you mean his awesome information that he has blessed us all with. I love Chris Murphy. I really do think, he's looking very presidential. Anyone that's willing to help me understand what's going on and making it clear and easy in a time of absolute crisis, I appreciate it. Oh, actually, before we move on to 6, which is horrible, I do want to I think I took some screenshots. Why is my mouse behaving this way? There we go. I want to find these screenshots I took about what we were just talking about. And let's see. Oh, man. Here we go. I'll show you, like, in this way, if you're in the instance you're not in the Discord and want to read. This article is so damning. I suggest everyone, this is a New York Times article, read this. Like, it's a $2.4 billion project. Turning the $2.4 billion project over to Musk's company would be a major test of the conflict of interest rules in government contracting and a huge waste of our money. Like, when you get into this and understand how effed up and insane it is, like, they've already done most of the work. We're going to have to pay them for it. They're going to sue us. Just because you cancel a government contract, we're basically going to pay them. Oh, hell yeah, they can sue. And then Elmo is just going to bring his shitty Starlink project. And then, like, it's if you read one thing this week, I suggest reading this. I was reading it and I was like, what in the, I couldn't even, because I heard Rachel Maddow talking about it. I read some just basic CNN articles. Listen to this. The FAA, so again, that's the guy, there's a washed up real world road rules season 6 Boston star running the Federal Aviation Administration now. But he's one of the only two, if you weren't here at the beginning of the live, you missed something really interesting. The New York Times is exclusively reporting on this meeting that happened yesterday where Lil Marco grew a spine and started puzzle piece, give me 1 second. Puzzle piece. I am not a bot. Okay, we're good. And grew a spine and started screaming at Elmo in a cabinet meeting where who knows why Elmo's there. And the only other person who backed him was the washed up reality star running the FAA, Sean Duffy, who was like, you're telling me to fire air traffic controllers and planes are like falling out of the sky. Like, I can't do, what are you talking about? He's trying to steal a $2.4 billion FAA contract to overhaul a communication system that serves as the backbone of the nation's air traffic control system, and awarding the work to Elmo's Starlink, according to two people briefed on plans. The move to cancel a major contract in favor of a venture led by Musk, who's leading the Doge committee, we know, would represent. Oh, yeah, we got all that. Hold on. I want to get to the really disgusting part. The move to cancel wait, that is the same. The existing contract was awarded to Verizon in 2023 with the aim of upgrading a platform that different air traffic control facilities and the FAA use to communicate with one another. Musk has personally taken aim at Verizon on his social media platform. So he's saying their system is not working. They haven't even completed the contract. And so he's using his bully pulpit of 250 million followers to defame them. They have a slam dunk lawsuit. Verizon did not respond to requests for comment, but a Verizon executive, whose name is Joseph Russo, vice president, said at an event hosted by Barclays Bank on Tuesday that Starlink's effort at FAA might be complementary to Verizon's. Verizon was offering reliability and performance that the FAA needed, and its system was expected to be operational soon. He's basically saying, like, our work is almost done, right? They've finished, and Musk is trying to cancel the contract. So I don't know what we'd pay twice. The FAA, this is on Wednesday, said no decisions have been made about the Verizon project. Keep tapping the screen. Let's get to 200K. We're almost there. Keep tapping the screen. I appreciate you guys so much. Keep tapping the screen. A team of employees from SpaceX, Starlink's parent company, have been working inside the FAA in recent days. This is insane. I want to read one more part of this. It gets super weird. I challenge anyone to question the honesty and integrity on this matter, Malaskas posted Wednesday. I am working without bias for the safety of people at that fly. I question it. Several of SpaceX employees now have FAA email addresses. Do you guys see what's happening? They have moved in, given themselves FAA email addresses, and are awarding themselves billions of dollars of government contracts and being like, I challenge anyone to question my integrity and ethics. I question them today, right here and now. You'd have to be an idiot not to. Like, how stupid do they think we are? That is the true question. How dumb do you think we all are? I can read, and this is ridiculous. And I've talked about this sooner. Why? It's not that Starlink didn't bid on these contracts originally. They did. It's just that during the Biden administration, when these contracts were awarded, there were actual intelligent people and scientists working who just vetted the contracts and the capabilities of corporations and determined that Starlink's capabilities and their product was inferior. That's why they've lost many corporate contracts, because it's an inferior product. That's why people that have Starlink are usually in depressed areas, or people where, like third world countries or places where floods happen, because it's a shit product. You can read all about it. right? Like, and that's why Verizon won the contract, because it's the best for the American people. Several of SpaceX employees now have FAA email addresses. Sorry, I can't stop laughing. Oh, nothing weird about that. According to two people who have seen the addresses, speaking on the condition of anonymity for fear of retribution. FAA regulates SpaceX, and has alleged that the company has violated safety rules related to its rocket launches. Elmo is taking over the oversight body over his shit rocket launches. Didn't something just go wrong with another SpaceX rocket launch recently? Didn't I just read that? Nothing weird about this. No one should be questioning anyone's integrity. Listen to it. Yes, like this just happened. This was it today or yesterday? Like I swear I just saw something. Yeah, it was like another one blew up. And the body that is supposed to be regulating his BS products, because Elmo's a scientist. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't realize getting a 4-year college degree made you a scientist. I just want everyone to know I'm a scientist too now. I'm a scientist. I'm a world famous historian. Like, it is insane. Verizon was tapped. So listen to this. This is interesting. In 2023, to build a system called the FAA Enterprise Network Services Program, or FENS, replacing a system that dates to 2002. So, and by the way, no one's disputing, like, we need to update the FAA systems. Like, we need to desperately. Keep tapping the screen. Tap, tap, tap. Keep tapping. Let's get to, are we at, oh my God, we need to get to 200K. We should be at 250K by 2:30. So we have 10 minutes to get to 250K. I have absolute faith in all of you. So the contract had a 15-year lifespan. Do the math, 2023. And the system is intended to connect some 4,600 sites. The agency was scheduled to make a final decision on whether to start paying Verizon for the contract next month, said one of people. And if you understand how government contracts work, and it's a ton of work that happens over a long time, so you deliver the deliverables, like there's product managers working on it, you show what you're working on, you prove that like you're doing what you say, and then they start paying you out like as it happens. The agency was scheduled to make a final decision on whether to start paying Verizon for the contract next month. Another person who's terrified to speak and spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized. Instead, Musk's team determined the job should go to Starlink. It's the people who gave the Musk's team, who gave the SpaceX people who moved into the regulatory body who was investigating them, gave themselves FAA email addresses, decided that Starlink should have the $2.4 billion contract. We are in a mother effing nightmare. But the contract for listen, and here's how you know we're all here's the real waste, fraud, and abuse. But the process for unwinding a contract and awarding it to another country or company is lengthy and has not been followed in this case so far. The person says this is going to end up in a lawsuit. We will have to pay out Verizon's contract, and then Musk will bring in his shit product and mess. Oh, well, they're going. I mean, this is an ultimate breach of contract. I mean, this is crazy what we're doing. This is not conducive. We have somebody already working on a contract, and then we're just, yeah, it's not good. Several senior FAA officials have refused to sign paperwork. So apparently we have a few good men left at the FAA who are refusing to sign paperwork authorizing the switch, according to a person who's been debriefed on internal deliberations and resulting fallout. So Musk's team is now seeking help from acting administrator of the agency, Trump appointee Chris Rocheleau and Sean Duffy. And remember, Sean Duffy tried to fight him yesterday in a meeting. So the washed up reality star Sean Duffy probably has talked to people that work at the FAA who are like, hey, I don't think you understand what is going on here. Amazing. Thank you guys so much for 200K. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you. Keep tapping the screen. But isn't this interesting? This is crazy. Like, it's not us. This is real life. This is real life. And it's funny because I heard Rachel Maddow reporting on this, but until you really dig in, Musk showed up with his stupid Doge team, had his own SpaceX employees who he says are Doge just take over the governing body over SpaceX, give them self FAA email addresses. Like, you guys, this is crazy. Like, if I wouldn't even believe it if I hadn't read it. Okay, now back. I think we're on 6. Oh yeah, I mean this is this is the absolute worst part of this whole thing. I think TikTok, I probably am gonna jinx it, but the presentation hasn't been randomly closing today. Has TikTok fixed something? Like, I'm just saying. And here's the craziest part. If you guys missed this, Trump has started charging $5 million for if CEOs want to meet with him one-on-one. So it's funny because it's like, where did he get the $5 million number for that gold card? Trump is charging CEOs $5 million to eat with him or have a conversation with him in which, now imagine if it's worth $5 million to get an audience. How much corruption, what government contracts, what deal is being made in those GD meetings? It must be worth much more than $5 million. Yeah, here, I'll let Chris Murphy scream about it, and then I'll show you some additional evidence.
This week, Wired reports that guests are paying millions of dollars to dine with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and business leaders are being targeted with advertisements that sell access to a one-on-one meeting with the President of the United States for $5 million. Come on! Like, seriously. There's advertisements that say if you're a business CEO and you pay $5 million to Donald Trump, you can get a meeting with him. Like, this isn't okay. And yet, because it happens every single day, they're asking for us to pretend that this is normal.
What else do you even say? I commend Chris. If I was on the House floor, they'd probably have to remove me because I would be like screaming, kicking my stand over, like breaking the poster board and be like, what the actual is going on? Like, I think he's doing a great job of holding it together down there, just trying to be like, this is extraordinary. Are not the words I would use, but I think that's all he's allowed to say. $5 million. I know. How much of us? Exactly. Like, if we all give $1 and 5 million of us show up to like picket him at Mar-a-Lago, do you think he'd talk to us? Just $5 million, guys. And I just, in case, I'll show you. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. Let me find I took a screenshot of the Wired article, and then I don't have an account. I don't pay for Wired, and it's behind a firewall, and I'm going through a period where I'm not paying for Apple News. I know. I'll just resubscribe. But this is the article that I assume he's talking about. People are paying millions at Mar-a-Lago to dine with Trump. The article I put that doesn't have a paywall is this independent article here, which basically is saying the same thing. Want to meet with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago? That will cost you $5 million. Donald Trump was reported, and it's basically if you want to dine there, like, and you're not alone, it's like you're at a table with other sycophants, it's $1 million per seat. But if you want a one-on-one is $5 million. It's everyone else who missed the boat, a Trump World insider told Wired after reported on the latest candlelight dinner. They call them candlelight dinners. So there's a long table. It's $1 million a seat. And then if you want a one-on-one with Trump, like on what they call the patio, it's $5 million. This is serious. I want to say this is a joke, but now you see why I was like, I must do a live today. Like, this cannot not be talked about. Oh, of course, no people of color. Unless you have 5 million. I mean, maybe. Like, I don't know. But yeah, like Trump was yelling in a meeting yesterday, you better not be hiring, or Elmo was yelling at first that he's convinced they're hiring DEI air traffic controllers. So it seems like they are all agree. And Trump's like, only people from MIT. I think Trump is, I mean, it's true. Very few black or brown people do go to MIT. So maybe he thinks by saying that he's rooting them out. This is unbelievable amounts of corruption and quid pro quo. 5 million. So yeah, if you're wondering where did he get that number, like 5 million, and you can enter the US, what does he call it? The gold card instead of a green card. He calls them the gold cards, and you can pay me and I'll let you into the US. Now you know where all of this is coming from. And think about what we were talking about with the crypto grift and Trump's crypto grift. And no, I forgot to even really make this clear. This is just a couple, yesterday, it's either yesterday or the day before. Or wait, no, this might be a week ago. But basically, so Trump does his coin grift and they declare they're not subject to oversight. So just know Trump is influencing the SEC so that they cannot do anything about what Trump is doing, about the grift, about people, basically oligarchs or Saudi princes driving up the value of his coin. So Trump releases more from the reserve. Exactly what MAG is always saying is a grift Trump is doing to them. So many people, I'm ashamed to be a US citizen at Zazu. I know. There is never more of a time to be embarrassed of what is going on in this country than there is right now. I wish that was the end of the grift, but I do. We're not quite at the end of the grifting yet. Give me a second to just wait. Let me see. Did I miss one? Let me just find the last. Let me let him wrap it up in all fairness, because he did do a video in closing, which I thought was nice, but I need to find it really quick. Oh yeah, here it is. Found it. Oh, I didn't clip it, so I'll enlarge it in a second.
So I lay it all out for you this afternoon in the hopes that it is not too late for us to decide to stand up as a body and as a nation to say that this.
So I just want to be clear what he's doing. He's begging Republicans. He is begging them to say, hey, can you guys grow a spine and help us save this? Because that's what I keep saying. We can blame Hakeem Jeffries. And like I said, I'm less worried about the House. I think they're younger and firing on far more cylinders than the Senate. I'm more worried about the Senate and their ages and if they're capable of communicating effectively. But it does not matter. It doesn't matter who we have if we can't get a few Republicans to spontaneously grow a spine and stand up. And now he basically is just begging them like, hey, here's the map of corruption that I have now very clearly taken you all through. Can you please grow a spine and help us? And yeah, someone said they're not going to do it. I agree. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, that's why we have to help Chris Murphy, right? That's why I decided this is the best way I can do something is we have to put pressure, right? Like I like to say it like the best strategy is a top down, bottom up. Sounds weird. I know. Don't think about it in a weird way. But like he's putting pressure from where he is. And we as the American public, we need to pressure the shit out of every Republican in your state. Contact them and say, hey, I can't wait to ruin your life. What are you doing? Do you know, like, and then we meet at the middle. That's what top down, bottom up strategy. That's something in business. That's a real thing. I did not make that up. That's a real thing in business. And then you meet somewhere in the middle, right? It's like, but like, that's the point. He's giving us this information, like, we're disseminating it, and we all have to work together. We need to put as much pressure on these people as possible and say, hey, I notice you don't have a spine. I'm interested in knowing when you are going to grow one. I think that would be a great fax to send. I'm concerned about your spine. Has it deteriorated, or is it still inside your body? Like that we need to be saying.
For you this afternoon in the hopes that it is not too late for us to decide to stand up as a body and as a nation to say that this isn't okay. The Trump meme coin is not okay. It's not okay for people who have interests before the federal government to be able to anonymously funnel money to the President of the United States. It's not okay for Elon Musk to have access to Department of Labor enforcement data against him or his competitors that nobody else gets access to. It's not okay to just cancel contracts that were going to Musk's competitors and substitute in his own business just because he has the ability to do it as a friend of Donald Trump. Like, the rule of law matters. Doing things by the rules matter. This level of corruption was not occurring behind the scenes prior. It is not just that the cover got pulled off of it all. And it's our decision as a body and as a country to decide not to normalize this scale of corruption.
Tell the people, Chris. I'm sorry. I just think he needs to put out as many videos like this as he can, make it help us, help you. But yeah, that's our job, right? We need to put as much pressure on people as possible. And honestly, I don't work for the Democratic Party. I don't think that's my calling in life. But if I did, they should be having town halls. The Democratic Party should spend all their money setting up town halls in places where people can show up in a forum. They should invite Republicans to show up too. I'm not even, of course, Republicans who are concerned in those areas. I'm saying congressional, like the people whose districts there are. I think as Democrats, we should set up town halls in places and say, hey, this is your district. We've invited your constituents to this place to have a talk. If you have a spine, you will show up and answer about what the F you think you're doing. Like, that's how, and in these hyper local elections and special elections, I know in the special elections, there's talk of setting up town halls. Like, that is what needs to happen. We need to create a place where I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you live there, you can show up, and we invite Republican representatives from that area. They can show up too and answer, what would you say you are doing? That is what I think if we were using our
So
money,
I lay it all out for you.
Sorry.
This afternoon.
If we were using our money the right way, that's what we would be doing.
In the
Because
hopes.
that is, I don't know why it keeps doing that. That is the best use of our money. Oh, I know what. I'm outside the presentation. Hold on. I got to go back into my PowerPoint. If you can hear my cat screaming, I'm sorry. He's having a tough day. We didn't get to spend the morning snuggling. He's like, where are you, Mom? And I want to show you, okay, so, and this is like, oh, who's this guy? Like, this is not that weird. Oh, this is just a bigger part. And again, I put all the articles needed to discover the entire Trump crypto grift, like in today's outline, because it's a complicated web. This has something to do with Trump has many crypto grifts going, right? He has many. One of the most complex and disgusting is called World Liberty. This is a guy who pumped the value up. Like, we're saying, somebody pumped the value up of Trump coin. This is a man who pumped the value up of one of Trump's crypto grifts. And Chris Murphy was talking with Chris Hayes last night about this. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you guys the worst part. Trump is getting him off. He was being charged for securities fraud. Don't worry, the case is not going forward.
Last week, the Securities and Exchange Commission and Sun sent a joint letter to a federal judge asking for a stay of Sun's pending SEC case. And last week, the judge granted the SEC's request, meaning this guy had an SEC investigation of him. He bought $30 million of Trump's meme coin. He sent a letter to the SEC being, can you drop it? And they dropped it.
Chris, their theory of the case here, and like maybe they're not wrong, is that if they just do the corruption out in the open and they're totally unapologetic about it, that it'll con people into believing that it's all normal and that this stuff used to happen behind closed doors. And the only difference is that now that it happens out in the open, this stuff didn't happen before. I mean, we just found out yesterday, I think, that Trump is selling for $5 million private audiences with him at Mar-a-Lago to corporate CEOs. Like, you'd be run out of town on a rail if you were a mayor selling audiences at City Hall for $1,000. Never mind $5 million. It is just crazy to me that any single instance that we have seen over the last 6 months isn't in and of itself disqualifying.
Yes, Bertie, I did. I'm sorry you missed it. The replay is available. I read the entire, New York Times reported on. I was playing like 3 characters acting it out. Yeah, I basically did a reenactment of the meeting. I played Sean Duffy, Marco Rubio, Trump, and Elmo. It was quite weird, but I just you're kind of like, okay, I just heard that. That sounds really corrupt, right? Like that sounds like some BS. I'm pissed about this, but I just want to explain to you what you just heard an example of, right? Trump has many crypto. It's not just the Trump coin. He has a coin. It's called World Liberty, right? This man pumped up the value of one of Trump's cryptoglyphs, millions and millions and millions of dollars. He bribed Trump, and his federal case went the F away. That is what you just heard. This man bribed Donald Trump through crypto, and his federal indictment is gone. Just in case you're like, hey, can you give me an example of how all this would work? How somebody would bribe Trump, and then they would get what they want from him? This man's name is Justin Sun. You can look it up. This man was being indicted for securities, for all sorts of corruption and fraud. He pumped up the value of one of Trump's cryptoglyphs, and Trump got him out of his case. It is no longer going forward. This is what we are talking about. This is action. We're talking hypothetically about this stuff. Do you know someone who did it? Yeah, that guy right here. This man, he did it back in September. I remember reading about it, and so many crypto people, because listen, I love decentralized banking. Don't get me wrong. I love the idea of decentralized banking. The original mission of crypto is pure. I'm a true believer in crypto, but crypto is now bastardized and it's for grifters and pandorers, right? But I love the blockchain. I love decentralized banking. And that's why we know what this idiot's up to, because of the blockchain, because you can't beat the blockchain. That's why we know that Trump's being enriched. We just don't know by who, right? When Trump's meme coin, I think it was January 17th, right? Trump minted his meme coin on the blockchain at 9 a.m. He didn't announce it for 12 more hours. And 3 hours before, someone filled a crypto wallet up with so much money to essentially pump up his coin. It's not some previously known crypto buyer. It appeared out of nowhere. This is how we know that Trump is on the take. It's absolute. The blockchain doesn't lie. That's the truth. That's why I love the blockchain. The blockchain is pure. Trump is a grifter, basically taking money. But the original idea of crypto to decentralize banking, and what Satoshi, that is the rumored founder and owner of the wallet that no one knows who it belongs to. If you don't know who Satoshi is, I suggest watching a documentary on Bitcoin, right? The largest unknown Bitcoin holder is rumored to be a man named Satoshi who had to go in hiding so the American government or someone else wouldn't off him. But this is not what he wanted to use crypto for, I'm sure. Trump just takes everything and he's like, oh, I can grift and no one can figure out who I am. That sounds amazing. Like, that's my number one goal in life. Here's another example. I'll just show you an example of an article, which I do believe. Oops, I think I just did something wrong. No, I didn't. Here's the same guy. Crypto mogul who invested millions into Trump coins is getting a reprieve on civil fraud charges. You pump up the value of Trump's dumb crypto grift, all of a sudden, your cases go away. You're not imagining it. It's all real. That's why this morning, imagine me, I was like sitting at the dentist, like shifting my seat, and the lady's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. I need to get home and get on my computer and yell." This is all real. And let me show you the graph because he did a great job of this chart. This is, again, if you want to look up this chart, I put it in the Discord, or I sent it out to everyone in the Discord. This is what he was having while he was screaming up a 6-week timeline of corruption. It is fascinating because he wasn't even speaking on all the stuff that are in here. I suggest everyone look at it. January 20th is Trump meme coin scam, handouts to fossil fuel CEOs. Yeah, because he owed them. The 23rd, formalized crypto fraud. 25th, fired inspectors, fired anyone who could investigate him and call him out for all these grifts. 27th, paralyzed the National Relations Labor Board. So fired anyone who could back up workers and unions. Formalized crypto fraud on the 30th. 31st, dropped DOJ investigations and lawsuits. The February 1st, dismantled the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. These are all favors to rich people who helped him get elected. On February 4th, golf deal for Trump properties. February 6th, legalized bribes by foreign governments. You can't even write this stuff. February 10th, that's when he did the quid pro quo with Eric Adams and greenlit corruption. February 12th, floated huge contract for, that's the cyber Tesla trucks, and then the cyber Tesla, the electric military vehicles, once they took the word Tesla out of it, which he's still profiting off of it. Yeah, that was February 12th. Also on February 12th, interfered with safety investigations into Musk's companies. So they started to get rid of investigations and the regulatory bodies that were investigating Musk. On the 15th, fired inspectors of Neuralink, bolstered Vita gummy scams. I can't even read this stuff. Look at this. I'm sorry, and you tell me, is Trump doing anything for the American people, or is he just scamming us? He's spending all of his time scamming us. Period. This is all he's done since he's president is rob us. Pushed ad money towards X. Yeah. Hundreds of millions of dollars, if you don't know. Our taxpayer of dollars are running hundreds of millions of ads on X. On the 20th, canceled CDC and FDA vaccine meetings. Oh, what could go wrong there? I don't know. Ask the measles outbreak in Texas. 26th, $2.4 billion gift to Musk Starlink. That's that FAA contract. Also on the same day, sold for-profit merch in office. I love Chris Murphy. I'll never forget that he did this. This is amazing. March 1st, $5 million for Trump one-on-one meetings. Nothing weird to see here. March 2nd, announced crypto reserve fund. March 4th, gutted watchdog of billionaire tax cheats. Cool. And March 4th, Musk's Starlink giveaway. That's what this is what our president has been up to. Now you tell me, is this America first, or is this rich weirdos first? I don't even know what to say anymore. But in case it was I can't picture it all in my mind, don't worry. Chris Murphy and his amazing staff. I love a chart. Don't show me a chart. I love charts. I've been looking at this. I was at the dentist and they're like, "Are you okay?" No. I'm not okay. Like, is my dad ready to leave? Like, I need to go and yell on the internet for 6 hours. This is what Trump has been up to the entire time, literally robbing us and insulting all of our intelligence. Has he done anything for? And I just want to, because I also found this amazing. Well, amazing. It's not amazing. It's not. It's not great. But at the same time, I love Chris Hayes, and he was doing a breakdown because Trump is. I don't want to scare anyone, but I mean, I'm just going to show you a piece that I think is very interesting about Trump's plans with Social Security, right? Like, Trump is going to rob us all. And I just think I don't want to go into the weekend being like, God, I should have showed him this, right? Or I wish I would have yelled it louder. And so, just in case it happens, I wish I would have told more people. But I hope if we are going to rob people Social Security, start with my parents who voted for Trump. Like, let's take theirs first, since they think Trump is some sort of god.
Rolled out the same play last night.
Like, why don't we take the Social Security checks of all people that voted for Trump first? That's what I really do think we should do.
And he rolled out the same play last night as he blasted out his new big lie about a beloved government program, one that Republicans have long hated, but that 71 million Americans currently rely on.
We're also identifying shocking levels of incompetence and probable fraud in the Social Security program. Believe it or not, government databases list 4.7 million Social Security members from people aged 100 to 109 years old. It lists 3.6 million people.
That's what I'm saying. Know that Trump knows these things are a lie. Why does it benefit him to continue pretending there's all this fraud unless he's planning on robbing us? He is setting the stage to grift us all, to rob us. Saying Social Security is a Ponzi scheme doesn't make sense unless you're planning on gutting it. What, that's what you need to think about. Why these lies?
From ages 110 to 119. I don't know any of them. I know some people that are rather elderly, but not quite that elderly.
I mean, you are old.
But we're going to find out where that money's going, and it's not going to be pretty.
Identical, right? He sees dead people again. The dead people voting in the Georgia election, the dead people getting checks from Social Security, all the dead people committing fraud. Suggesting that Americans who died long ago are still having their Social Security checks delivered to someone and somehow cashing them in their name, even though they're dead and there's a death certificate. Again, think about it for 20 seconds. It's obviously preposterous. In fact, a government investigation last year found that from 2015 through 2022, 7 years, of all the money the agency paid out in benefits, and that is $8.6 trillion, a staggering sum, less than 1% was improper payments. That's a really good record. And most of the erroneous payments were overpayments to living people. I mean, again, think about this, right? In the same way if you think through the dead people voting at scale issue. If you have ever had a loved person die when they were on Social Security, you know the checks don't keep coming.
Ridiculous.
Also, Social Security automatically stops payments to people who are 115 years old. It's capped there, which I'm sure is a bureaucratic headache for the handful of Americans who live that long. The version of the lie Trump and his unelected co-president Elon Musk are telling appears to be based on their inability to read the data they collected, because Social Security's software system necessitates that some entries with missing or incomplete birth dates will default to a reference point of more than 150 years ago. I don't know the origins of this, but here's the thing. The fraud claims are bunk. They're totally false. It's just the big lie about voting again. Dead people voting. But just like they did with the election.
They can't even, they're repurposing their other lies. He's so right, too. And someone said Chris Hayes should go independent. I agree. Chris Hayes has an amazing brain. That's the thing about MSNBC is like, there are some of the most beautiful brains working at MSNBC I've ever seen. MSNBC, like, that is the same lie. They're just like, oh, remember how we said dead people are voting? Let's just say dead people are getting money. Like, They're not geniuses. You know what I mean? They're just like, we'll take the dead people voting lie that is easily debunked, and then we'll just do the whole dead people are getting money. Oh, the same dead people that are voting are also getting money. Those dead people. Yeah. If you don't know about Chris Hayes is like a former federal prosecutor. Amazing brain. Like, love him. Love him. I agree. I mean, if he does leave MSNBC, I mean, yeah, have a great career as an independent journalist because his brain is amazing.
Big lie. Republicans are amplifying it.
What he's finding with his algorithms crawling through the data of Social Security system is enormous amounts of fraud, waste, and abuse.
Tens of millions of deceased people who are receiving fraudulent Social Security payments.
More than 13 million people on the records receiving benefits who are over 119 years old.
I'm shocked enough. Who do we have at 200 years old, or who do we have older than America that's getting Social Security? Everybody.
Kevin, stop. Kevin, we took a vote. Just stop. They voted you off the island and you're still trying to inch your way back in. It's just, Kevin, it's sad at this point. Please stop.
Whose grandfather died and is still getting Social Security? Give me a break.
Yeah. They're lies. They are lying. Those are all lies. It's not happening. Okay? Millions of people, millions. Here's the thing. They want to destroy Social Security. They are coming for Social Security. Musk has already installed someone from Doge at the Social Security Administration. The agency has already announced enormous layoffs. They're already closing offices. This is going to make things start to break there. Last weekend, the previous Social Security Administrator, Martin O'Malley, warned that Trump and Doge were breaking the whole agency, saying, quote, ultimately, you're going to see the system collapse and an interruption of benefits. I believe you will see that within the next 30 to 90 days. People should start saving now. Like, I don't know if that's a credible prediction. I really don't know. Social Security is an amazing and robust system, right? But it's an incredible statement. Given that Social Security has never missed a monthly payment in 90 years, it is a program, like our voting system, that is incredibly free of fraud, incredibly efficiently run, insanely popular with the American populace, just like free and fair elections. So keep your eye on the ball here, right? Huge tip-off last night of what they're about to do. Trump knows all this. Musk knows all this. It's why they are telling the big lie about Social Security. Just like the big election lie. The objective now, as it was then, is to fabricate this elaborate, grotesque lie about a cherished institution of American. Enough fear, doubt, and uncertainty among enough people that Trump can get away with destroying it. And he...
In fact, someone asked if I've heard Chris Hayes. Listen, I'm a long time Chris Hayes fan. I love Chris Hayes' braid is like a thing of beauty. Yeah, I love Chris Hayes. He's absolutely amazing. I think his wife is also a lawyer. Like, his wife is also a genius. I'm like, let's just wait for. He has like 2 kids. I'm like, wait for his kids to grow up. They're going to be geniuses. Like, I think I was like saying that to someone once. I'm like, I think his genius wife and him have 2 kids. Can't wait for their genius children to grow up and save us. Yeah, constitutional law. Yeah, like that's like one time I looked into who his wife was, and I was like, oh, his wife is smarter than him. Okay. Yeah, like they have a couple genius children running around. Like, I cannot wait. Keep tapping the screen, share the live. Let's get to 300K. We're almost there. I appreciate you guys. The fearless journalist to hell with cabs is going on right now. This is going on right now. Amen. This fearless, I mean, it is going on right now. And that's the point. Like, that's why I'm showing you guys this. Like, never take your eye off the ball. Keep your eye on the money. And also, most importantly, let's not fight each other. Let's not spend all our time. Like, I do think we should encourage people in Congress, particularly Senate, other than Chris Murphy, to get out there in the media, speak louder, like learn to communicate in ways that are easily understandable, easily palatable. Like Chris Murphy putting out that thread, those like 6-7 videos. And I was like, this is perfect. Like, I can take this and I can show it to people and I can make a difference. Like, and that's what I think the problem is. It's not that people in Congress aren't doing things. They just aren't sure. Because I have a background in tech. So like, they're just not sure how to package information in a palatable way yet. Right. And so that's like, I just want people to understand the difference. The only thing we don't need to do is fight each other. Right. we are being robbed. And like, I don't want people to think I don't see the comments of like, what are we supposed to do? Like, how can they just lie? I know we are in unprecedented times. We can no longer count on anyone just having ethics. Nobody is going to do the right things. The guardrails of democracy are a joke, right? Like, so I don't want anyone to panic, right? Because just as someone, I grew up in complete chaos, right? I didn't grow up in structure. I was raised by a malignant narcissist and what I learned was just like they love to create chaos to thrive, don't panic. Just look for your opportunities to thrive in chaos, right? Like that's what we need to do. Like in chaos, the cream rises to the top. Remain calm. Like I promise, if you let your fear response, if you let the amygdala take over, you will lose. So like that's what I'm saying. Stuff down the fear and the panic. Like the minute you want to start pointing and being like, this person's not doing their job, that person's not, I'm pissed. Like just you have to remain calm and you just have to think and wait. And like I'm not saying like the minute you panic, the narcissist wins. They want to drive us into chaos. They want to turn it. They want to make us suspicious of each other. They want to pit us against each other. They want no one to know what the truth is, to not see the clear path ahead. And that's what I'm saying. We have to remain calm because the beauty of this is like, to me, and I said this yesterday and I'll say it again. Let's get to 300K. Keep tapping the screen. If you would like to subscribe, I'm trying to get back to 400 subscribers today on TikTok. Please help me out and subscribe, or I probably need to update goals. I'll do that now. But I've said this many times before, right? Like we need to stay calm. And like, there's always going to be a door. Narcissists make mistakes. Trump's making a serious pattern of mistakes. When you can see that pattern and understand, then all you have to do is counter it. Like this is not over. Like, I don't want anyone to think we can't stop what he's doing. Because once you truly believe that and you're like, it's over, we've been robbed, where do we go from here? Nowhere. So I don't think that this is not something we can undo. But what we need to do is be smart and remain calm, because letting the fear response take over will kill all of us. Thank you, Joanna. Subs are back with social. Someone said talk about Medicaid. Wait, did it say Medicare or Medicaid? I think it said Medicaid. Yeah, listen, they're about to try to, actually, I don't think they can do it. They were thinking maybe they could try, right? If you don't know, what day is it? Is it the 7th? It's the 7th. We are careening towards a government shutdown. It is the 7th. The government is going to shut down at midnight, next Friday. So imagine, that's how I know all this waste, fraud, and abuse is a joke. Because the government's about to shut down and they're going to refund it. Right? Like if we don't if through a continued resolution, I've explained to you guys how the government funding works, because they can't add anything new, because the right-wing fringe of real Thomas Massey and stuff won't vote for it. They're probably just going to do a clean CR, which is a continued resolution. So imagine all this time wasted of Elmo being like, I found all this waste, fraud, and abuse. Oh, I've uncovered so much. And they're just going to refund all of it. If you really uncovered real waste, fraud, and abuse and you'd rooted it out and you were making a difference, would you then go and make no changes and just refund the government as is? Of course not. This is all a grift and a lie. And I don't know, my personal hope as a teacher is that nothing I said prior to the election, saying all this, trying to break Project 2025 down in palatable little bits, be like, this is how they will rob us. I described Schedule F in detail, which was the memo that Trump was going to have and use if he had won the 2020 election. He had that memo written up to fire the federal workforce once before. I walked everyone through that and said, this is what he's going to do. He's going to fire veterans. He's going to take benefits. And everyone just said, stop lying. Oh, you're just a woman with a tiny brain. So I mean, Americans want to learn the hard way. This is the hard way. This is what we're experiencing now. So how bad does it have to get? Because now I used to be I used to be the person with like my lawyer's phone number written on my arm, like, and my like other necessary photos like written all over my body. So, like, have you guys ever protested in the streets? Because it might come to that. But trust me, you'll never feel more alive. Like, you want to learn about the power of the people? Let's figure it out. Like, this is what I mean. If anything is good about this, in my mind, I don't want to pretend we all have to like handcuff ourselves to doors because that sounds a little dramatic. But this is why I say when people are like, people aren't in Congress aren't doing their jobs. And the reason I dispute that is just because I've spent a lot of time debating myself in my head about it. Like, is there a chance for a revolution? I actually don't think so because of the nature of the American military. I think only asinine people like the J6ers would think you could go like break into the Capitol and nothing was going to happen to you. I think that our real power is in what? Stopping working and stopping consuming goods. I think our best chance is probably a general strike and to stop buying things. I'm not saying that needs to happen soon. I'm saying when we talk about resistance, it will probably look more like that. I'm not saying that anybody has to like go like, do something crazy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we could paralyze the American economy with a critical mass of people who stop working and stop consuming. Like that would be something to figure out. It's not going to be everyone go get your like weird weapons you've been hiding under your bed like MAGA thinks. Like, I think we would try to paralyze the American economy if it comes to that. But in the short term, I would look up what can you do about special elections. If we can even take one or two of these special elections, if we take all three, then we have the majority of the House, right? Like, that's probably too optimistic. I used to date someone in the first district of Florida, so I know what the district Matt Gaetz came from. I understand, as they call it, the Redneck Riviera. I think it would be I don't anything short of a miracle to wrench that district out of the Republicans' hands. But I'm just saying, in the short term, if we could take that special election in New York, that is a huge deal. Because the truth is, if Thomas Massie has shown, right? If you don't know who Thomas Massie is, he is a Republican representative from Kentucky. I think he fashions himself a libertarian. I don't think he's a real libertarian, but he is as fringe as they get of Republicans. He has not voted with Trump yet. If there is one person who refuses to support Trump. So if we win 2 of those special election seats and Thomas Massie refuses to cooperate, we can paralyze them. They can't move forward. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to understand the numbers game going on in Congress and how we can paralyze them. So those special elections truly do matter. It just depends on what happens. Sorry, I was just reading a comment. But yeah, I'm just giving you examples of how in the short term, but then we have to think longer term, which is the midterms. What we want by the midterms is to take back Congress. And what I think the best way to do that, and I talked about this yesterday, is they have been talking about Republicans. This is how you know how disingenuous and how, I don't know, they're lying grifters. If you were a real person who was elected to Congress, I just can't express to you guys, like, when I feel like I've messed up, I spend all night thinking, how can I be a better person? Like, I should have said this differently. Like, I wish I didn't get angry. Like, I care so much about you guys. Like, so Republicans are not that way. So people showed up to their town halls and expressed, hey, we don't understand what's going on. People are being fired. I'm worried about my job. I'm worried about my Medicaid. I'm worried about my Medicare. I'm worried about Social Security. And you know what happened? They had a meeting and said, nobody do any more town halls. Hide. Is that, that's the solution in the Republican Party, is hide from your constituents. Do not let them corner you on camera, because that is too powerful of footage. being caught in public, being questioned about your lies, just don't give them the camera footage. That's what I'm saying. Trump's not running a government. Trump's is central casting people and put, like, this is fake. So I think the more times we can create that hyperlocal content, create town halls, say we invited Republican representatives here, they would not show up, right? Like that's what I think matters, because I've never been more inspired than by that town hall content. I love watching people in Kansas show up places and be like, "Oh yeah, I do know how the government works." And then somebody being like, "Yeah, every license plate in this parking lot is from Kansas. I don't know why Roger Marshall is pretending these are paid people from other states that Democrats flew in." Like, I do think we should make our local representatives face us, period. That's what I think. And I think that's our responsibility. And I said this before the Kamala Harris election, like, I just want to leave it out on the field. Like, just take that frustration, that fear, that anxiety, and turn it into action. Like, don't wonder, what could I have done? Like, if this is the end of the American experiment, I would suggest doing anything you can do, anything you think will help to changing things. And that's what I think every single day is like, am I doing enough? Could I have done more today? Or am I being efficient? Could I do things differently? The Democrats that ran against them needs to show up at the town halls where they want. I agree. That's what I think. I think if the Democratic Party wants a good use of funds, especially when we near the midterms and we have challengers to these seats where Republicans don't want to show their face, they have to show their faces eventually. And we need to present candidates that will talk about the truth, because the one thing I know when I go to sleep at night is the math is mathing on my side. The numbers are on my side. Everything I know is because I read and do math. The truth is on our side. And that's why you have to hide. I don't need to hide from people. I have the truth. Like, I'm not scared to show up somewhere and be like, this is what I believe, and here is 18,000 spreadsheets to show you why I think that's the case. Math doesn't lie. Republicans do. That's the truth. The best thing we have is the truth. So don't ever shy away from speaking your truth. And that's why, like, what I think Chris Murphy did with this thread, which again is available. I put the link in the Discord, or you can find it on his X page or on Blue Sky, is like, if you make the truth easily palatable, you teach people, how do I fight for myself? Like, tell me what the truth is, give me the resources to understand it, and then I'll take the fight to the streets. Because, like, none of us should worry if the truth is on our side. Exactly, Sylvia. History will remember us well. Republicans should be ashamed. Yeah, all the replays of these shows are available on YouTube. Like, the truth is on our side. Like, it doesn't matter. Even if we go down, like, at least history will say we were on the right side. Like, conservatives should be ashamed of themselves. And ignorance is no longer an excuse, right? Like, that's the other truth. And I don't know if I said that. I want to make sure. I feel like I need to say, I feel like I forgot to. Vicky, if I didn't say it, thank you for the $25. Your live is incredibly great. You're one of the only ones. Oh, wait, no, I did read that one, but I feel like I didn't read something else. I feel like, hold on. Did I read all of these? Julie, thank you for the $25. I think I did read that one. I feel like I saw another one I hadn't read, though. So if I'm forgetting someone, am I forgetting anyone? Oh, that's Julie Arthur. Sent you $25. You're amazing. Thanks for the teachings. All hugs. All hugs to you too. Thank you so, so much. Sorry, I get confused sometimes. You guys are amazing. Do you guys have any other? What time is it? It's 3:12. If anyone has any questions they want to ask, I'm open to answering some more questions. But I think that's where we can leave it today, because I know it's like, what the F? Oh, wait, no, I do have one clip. Hold on. I have to show you guys something. It's important. I just remembered. Sorry. I was like, I feel like I'm missing something. So also, it seems I'm starting to realize all I see are patterns. What happens is all these shit shows are happening, and then Trump spends like Fridays, it seems like he just sits at his desk in the White House and then answers ridiculous questions from reporters. And I just want to show you guys. So, and I don't, I think I could find, I think I have a screenshot of it, but Trump is all over the place, right? But the most important thing to understand before I show you this clip is that Trump has in real life, right, crippled Ukraine in every way he could. He's cut off funding. He's cut off military intelligence. He's cut off resources. He's threatened them publicly. He's humiliated them. He's trying to remove the temporary, or he did remove the temporary legal status for 240,000 Ukrainians and is trying to expel them from our country. I explained to you guys how he's making it easier for Russian agents to operate unregistered on U.S. soil and to bribe him. Like anything Trump can do for Putin, he has done in real time. And then the weirdest thing is, he puts out this weird message. Like, I think it's like Trump is a complete, he's a simp. No, I like simps. A simp is not a bad thing. Trump is not a man. He is bent over and Putin is giving it to him 24 hours a day. And so he has these moments where he wants to act tough. Here, let me just pull it up because I'm not sure if I have a screenshot, but I'll just pull. I'm so embarrassed to have True Social on my phone. Don't judge me, but I've got to keep an eye on these people. Let me just read to you
That paper is
what he wrote.
now than computers.
Trying to act cool really quick. Based on the fact that Russia is, and I just made some weird references. Now you tell me, Trump making weird homoerotic references. It's so strange. Based on the fact, and this is in quotations, based on the fact that Russia is absolutely pounding Ukraine on the battlefield right now, that is because Trump stopped protecting Ukraine. Trump removed intelligence. Trump removed protection. Trump removed funding. Trump stopped sending them arms. Everything we agreed to do, he has gone back on. And then I know what FinDom is. I think that's my next career. I can't believe you said that. I was just joking in our group chat. I was like, my next career is FinDom. That's so funny. I literally, if anyone's interested, just message me. If anyone wants me to engage in that weird kink with you, I feel like that's my calling. That's so funny. I literally said that. I was like, someone told me about that, and I was like, I think I can do that. That's probably my next calling. And that's what Putin is doing to Trump. Literally. Like, that's what Putin's doing to Trump. I do have a feeling narcissists are all masochists. Based on the fact that Russia is absolutely pounding Ukraine on the battlefield right now, I am strongly considering large-scale banking sanctions and tariffs on Russia until a ceasefire and final settlement agreement on peace is reached. To Russia and Ukraine, get to the table right now before it is too late. Thank you. So I just want to be clear. There were sanctions. There was Operation Klepto Capture. All of these things, as a favor to Putin, he did away with. Putin is now, I was just reading, like, an ICBM, a long-range missile, hit a hotel in Ukraine. Literally, in real time, hit Ukraine. I mean, Putin is unleashing fury because we've abandoned them. And then he has the nerve to say this. Now, let me show you this clip of what he said today in the White House. This is the most bizarre. I think Asen called it bizarre, and I'm like, this is bizarre.
Peter?
It's a lot of soldiers on both sides, I agree. Do you, Mr. President, think that Vladimir Putin is taking advantage of the U.S. pause right now on intelligence and military aid to Ukraine?
No, I actually think he's doing what anybody else would do. I think he wants to get it stopped and settled, and I think he's hitting them harder than he's been hitting them. And I think probably anybody in that position would be doing that right now. He wants to get it ended, and I think Ukraine wants to get it ended, but I don't see it's.
Oh, so he's saying yes. So say yes. Everything we agreed upon, what Congress appropriated, the plans we made to support our ally, I have went back on. The only thing Trump is good for is going back on deals. That's it. That's it. This is the only thing this man is good for, is making promises that being like, just kidding. I forgot I made any promises. And then being like, yeah, I went back on every agreement I had with Ukraine, and Putin's doing what I would do, just hammering them. And then because he's getting a very negative response. Oh my God, I have one more thing I have to show you after this so you guys can laugh. I forgot. I can't believe I forgot to show you guys. Don't worry, you guys are going to smile. So, since he's getting a negative, many people in America aren't very keen on this. Then he's like, "Oh, after I took everything away from Ukraine, I opened up an opportunity for Russia to absolutely hammer them on the battlefield and spread misinformation, disinformation, bribe me in real time for foreign agents to not register and operate on American soil." Oh, I might sanction Russia again. Well, you didn't. We were sanctioning Russia, but you removed all the sanctions, weirdo.
Crazy. They're taking tremendous punishment. I don't quite get it, but I suspect, Michael, he probably wants to get it ended.
He does, Mr. President. The Russians are taking incredible losses on the front. As the president has said, this is a meat grinder of people, of material, of national treasure.
Trump's presiding over a European G-side right now. So just know that. That's Mike Waltz, one of the pathetic weirdos that hangs out around Trump, who I guess now, I would have said Marco Rubio was the most qualified. Marco Rubio isn't at least he started a fight with Trump yesterday. Mike Waltz is now below the washed up reality star who helped Rubio fight Musk yesterday. So now it goes, Lil Marco, washed up reality star, Mike Waltz is somewhere near the bottom for just even standing there today. They said maybe Scott Besson is now third because apparently Scott Besson won't show up to cabinet meetings anymore because he's so weirded out by what is happening. Yeah, that's right, Scott. It was much better when you worked for George Soros, wasn't it? And that's not a joke. He literally did. He is George Soros's protege. And MAGA thinks George Soros is a bad person, but Trump put this guy in the White House. Let me find this. So what I want to show you to make you smile is, I don't know if you guys watch international news, but remember 1 week ago today when Marjorie Taylor Greene's embarrassing boyfriend decided to confront Zelensky in the White House and ask him why he didn't have a suit on? Has anyone seen what has happened to Brian Glenn since then? Brian Glenn is having a rough go at life because everyone around the world has found they put his phone number out. Like, Brian Glenn's life is a living nightmare now. And I think in like an effort to try to stop people from harassing him, like it's their full-time job, he was like, oh, I'll show up on like European news and try to like get sympathy and convince people to I think he probably went on European news like Wednesday and was like, I don't even know how people found my phone. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going to show you guys because I was like, Brian Glenn. So, okay, Brian Glenn, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the monster who believes Jewish people are responsible for space lasers that are starting fires. Well, her boyfriend is another Trump sycophant. Like, Marjorie committed adultery. If you really want to go back to the beginning, Marjorie is an adulterer who was still married to her husband. Brian Glenn was still married to his wife, who was in Texas. They both started, like, when Trump started doing these embarrassing Trump rallies in 2022, they were like announcers at the Trump rallies. And then, like, it started becoming really weird. Like, it was so obvious on camera. I was like, oh my God, these people are effing. And then they divorced their significant others. His wife was pissed and then got together. So I'm trying to say the man, I'm sure everyone's seen the clip of the guy in the White House when Zelensky was there and they were all very obviously attacking him. That was like, why aren't you wearing a suit? And he's like, maybe I'll get a cheap one like yours. That is Marjorie's boyfriend, Brian Glenn. And since he made the decision to publicly attack Zelensky, the world has decided they no likey Brian Glenn anymore. So Brian Glenn tried to show up on the BBC, which is like, British, like their public news channel, to try to, I don't know what he was doing, like beg for sympathy. But I have been looking at European blogs. I don't think anyone's having it. But I think Brian's life is not going well. He's being harassed. If you want to find this clip, this is one of the places I found it. It's at BBC Newsnight. D threats, phone calls. I don't know how they got my number. Brian Gled, the man who asked President Zelensky why he doesn't wear a suit, tells Newsnight about the public response to the question. Like, this is he lives with Margarine, so I'm sure half those calls are from Margarine. Like, in all fairness, like. Wait, am I showing? I think I'm showing the wrong clip. Hold on, let me find. Oh, I went the wrong way. Sorry. See how many clips I have? Sorry.
I know by the thousands and tens of thousands of comments I've gotten on social media, death threats, phone calls. I don't know how they got my number. I think the world took it as a snarky comment. That wasn't really my intention. My intention was just to see if he understood the level of respect that people have when they go into the Oval Office. Now, a lot of people will say, well, why doesn't Elon Musk wear a suit? Why does he wear a hat? Why does he take his kid into the Oval Office? Well, Elon Musk is in charge of savings, billions of dollars of tax.
Which is all a lie, Brian. This is why. So just know, after Brian did this interview, I think people are harassing him more. People are more angry at Brian's stupidity. Yeah, I think Brian is probably swollen because I think he's probably like drinking himself today. Like, he doesn't look well, does he? But like, people are more angry after this interview. Like, he showed up on European news to gaslight because if you don't know, the news that like the lies Trump is spewing in Europe or in America, they know the truth in Europe. So doing this whole thing, this is not well received in Europe. They're like, is this guy insane? Like, looking like RFK. I don't even know who said that. But stop.
Snarky comment. That wasn't really my intention. My intention was just to see if he understood the level of respect that people have when they go into the Oval Office. Now, a lot of people will say, well, why doesn't Elon Musk wear a suit? Why does he wear a hat? Why does he take his kid into the Oval Office? Well, Elon Musk is in charge of savings, billions of dollars of taxpayer dollars going over to different, organizations. Zelensky has been given, some say, close to $300 billion in cash and military equipment. So
that's a lie. I mean, I hope you don't mean by America. Like, I know you're not talking about us. He goes and starts gaslighting these people.
I would think at that point, it does warrant him showing a little bit of respect.
A couple of things to pick you up on there, if I may, Mr.
Was it respectful when you cheated on your wife with a woman who goes around harassing children who are just trying to testify before Congress about the mass tragedies they survived? Was that respectful, Brian? Was that respect? I don't think that, please, Brian, please don't lecture us on respect. Him and Barge don't they look like the perfect couple? What a great look at they're match made in hell.
The US hasn't given $300 billion worth of aid. I know President Trump has said it a number of times, but it's more like $119 billion, according to a think tank in Germany who actually tracks what goes into Ukraine. And
that's the thing about Europe. They can count over there. They have subsidized education. They pay for people to go to college over there. So sorry, Brian. I know you're used to talking to MAGA on first. And if you guys don't know, first he worked at the Right Side Broadcasting Network that covered Trump rallies. And then he got a bigger and better offer over at Real America's Voice. That's where he works now. So Brian's used to telling whatever lies he wants and no one being like, hey, here we can do math. Please don't gaslight us.
In terms of your point about his attire, many people are saying, look, this is a guy at war. He's been leading his country bravely through this war against Russia for 3 years, and probably what he's wearing is the last thing on his mind.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. But to my point, the war is not in the West Wing and the Oval Office in Washington, D.C. The war is back in Ukraine. And let me be really clear on this, Victoria, because this is some of the hate that I've gotten online. President Trump, I just left the Roosevelt room. President Trump wants nothing more than peace in that region, wants to stop this war. Matter of fact, my first question, Victoria, was about his legacy going down as a peacemaker and someone who stopped a war and didn't start any wars that the U.S. got involved. So that was my first question. So, you know, this is something that he wants to end.
Brian Glenn, thank you very much for talking to us this evening.
We're like, please shut up, Brian. Like, don't you? They're like, Brian, please be quiet. No one cares. I can't. Could I please? I'm moving to Europe where people are doing real news, where they just tell people this man believes he's a reporter. Like, excuse me, I'm here to tell a series of lies and gaslight the European people. And they're like, Brian, thank you for being here. We have to go to somebody who is not an idiot now. We all need to move to Europe where the truth still matters. They're like, Brian, please shut up. I know. I knew you got. I can't believe I forgot to play it yesterday. Like, Brian's basically begging people to stop in Europe to stop harassing him. Because I read all about this. He's like, they think most of the people harassing him are Europeans. It's like, oh, did Anonymous give your phone number out? I'm so shocked. Like, you're awful. And his first point is like, hey, just so you know, it's not I didn't only ask him why he wasn't wearing a suit. I asked another question. I gaslighted him with another question first. Cool. Like, the lady's like, okay, like, we gotta go now, weirdo. Like, he was the guy who interviewed Trump supporters in line for the rallies. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Brian Glenn is not a real reporter. They gave him a microphone and is like, stand out in the blazing sun and like talk to weirdo Trump supporters. Like, I have never missed a Trump rally. I remember where Brian Glenn came from. Now he's in the White House just telling lies. Like, it's time flies when you're having fun. I remember Brian Glenn in like random parking lots in Tennessee. Not much has changed though. Not his outfit or anything. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Trump tells him what to say every time. He looks unwell, though. Like, he looks like this is basically killing him. But yeah, apparently he's having a rough go at life. So I just thought, if that doesn't cheer you, just picture Brian's swollen face. You're big. What do you mean? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, Tanner, but I have PTSD, so you shouldn't say those types of things to me. They scare me. Anyways, on that note, I was violating a man's free speech. That's really funny. I can't. Only a man could say that I was violating. Oh, truly, in true life, only a man could say that I was violating his free speech. Yeah, and I know, like, you mean well. It's not good for my PTSD to like hear things like that because sometimes it scares me. Oh, all men do on Pickle's lives are lie. Like, do you think? Are you kidding? Of course he was lying. All men do is lie on Pickle's lives. It's just some insecure man who's like, oh, I hope it's the one from last Friday who was like, the Biden crime family. Like, he was losing his mind. Like, I don't know. But do you have any idea how many people on the internet hate me? Or, I mean, and by people, I just want to be clear. I mean, men. Men who and it's actually gotten much better now, but like there used to be. I'm switching my account. I'm gonna see who it is. I'll tell you who it is in a second. Like, I just can't be on. I'm in TikTok Studio, so I can't check. I'll tell you really quick who it is. Hold on. Oh my God. It was the guy I blocked on my live who wouldn't stop yelling while I was talking. Oh yeah. Listen, if you talk while I'm teaching, you can't speak to me. Yeah. That's the person who I was like, stop talking when I'm talking. Like, he was spamming the chat in here. There's only one rule at the people's receipts, like, don't spam the chat. Like, and here's the thing that I would suggest somebody tell him: the First Amendment, like, I am not the government, right? The First Amendment applies to the government, right? It is about the American government limiting people's free speech, right? That is when the First Amendment is violated. If the American government silences speech. Now, me, a private citizen who decided to build a community and make it a safe space and teach people about lies, anytime I want to silence someone, I can. And that has zero to do with the First Amendment, because why? I'm not the American government. I'm a private citizen who's creating a safe space, and I can silence anyone I want anytime I want. That's the beauty of what I do. But you would have to have a knowledge of the Constitution, right? That's what the same, and not to just to turn this into a little bit of a learning moment. That's why MAGA has no idea what they're talking about, right? Like, even wants to silence your speech. Like, if TikTok says our site, we're banning you, and then MAGA's like, TikTok is silencing my free speech. No, the government has to silence your speech for it to be a free speech violation. Any private corporation or any human can silence anyone's free speech anytime they want. It has nothing to do with the First Amendment. Anyways, no, I mean, it's you. I don't work for the American. The day I become a government employee, that's like, I'll tell you a real example of a lawsuit. Did you guys know that Marjorie Taylor Greene was sued by Midas Touch and won? Because she's a government employee. So if you block someone, say on Twitter, and limit their free speech to talk to you, you can be sued because you're a government employee. Right? That is an well, yeah. Well, this is before they were like the Midas Touch now. Like, this is like when I first knew, who Ben Meiselas was, like before he had created Midas Touch. Yeah, they won. Because I'm giving you an example of what free speech is. The First Amendment is the government can't silence its citizens, right? So Marjorie Taylor Greene was a representative of the American government, and then Ben Meiselas was harassing her, not harassing her, just saying true things that she was incorrect and like fact checking her online. This is before he created the Midas Touch Network. This is years and years ago. Like, it's, I think, COVID, like beginning or middle of COVID, and she blocked him and he sued her. He is a very good litigator and won. And I think they donated donated the money she had to pay to like a charity. More sophisticated now than computers. Yeah, that's why I love Midas Touch, is because most of the people that work at Midas Touch are also lawyers. So they're like, oh, can't wait for Donald Trump to sue us. Oh, I spilled water on my oldest iPhone. Not this one. I like to keep like ancient iPhones functioning. I just spilled my water on them. It's like liquid detected. You don't know how I do it? Oh, actually, I'll just say this. I used to get like 20 death threats a day on the internet. Actually things have gotten better for me. That's why I'm saying, like, this is my safe space. If you want to say whatever you want, then, you can go create your own safe space and do that and yell whatever you want. Like, anyone can start their own live, like, in a safe space. I used to get threats oh, you guys don't know that? I forget, some of you guys haven't known me that long. I did not used to do lives. I used to be a full-time content creator, and like, I used to get so much internet harassment that it was like crippling. Like, it was not okay. Like, around 2022, it was like, I can protect you. Thank you, Theo. But yeah, like, so actually what people do now, like, I just realized, like, I can do what I love and I can just block people who won't shut up. And the guy who is on Pickles Live, that's all that happened. He would not stop spamming the chat. He was just, if you interrupt our ability, a bunch of high IQ people who are trying to learn, you get blocked. Like, that's all. That's what happened there. I thought it might be the guy from, like, is this when you were, No. This guy was here. The guy on Pickles Live right now. I blocked him, I think, like on Tuesday. Like he just was spamming in the chat during the people's receipts and being like, "You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about," or something. And I was just like, "Yeah, I don't. I'm just blocking you. Stop spamming the chat." It was really not that big of a deal. Like, yeah, and probably many of you were here. So, and if you don't remember, like, it's yeah, you want somebody to care. Like, why do you care that I blocked you? Like, men are so weird. Like, Christ. And actually, I thought it was a man. I'm actually surprised. I'm shocked by that. Like, keep crying. And it's not like I even blocked him on my other accounts. Like, if you really wanted to watch, you could do so through YouTube and complain there. Not to say I wouldn't block you there, but how embarrassing. Men are embarrassing. And that is our final lesson for Friday, are embarrassments to themselves and to everyone else. I want his telephone number. Exactly. No, we don't. We don't want his number. Oh yeah, no, I know. Listen, if I was wrong, like, I'll say this. The only thing I feel bad about this week is that yesterday I feel like I don't like to argue with people like who are on our side. Like I think when people were saying that Hakeem Jeffries wasn't doing his job, I think I was just a little too harsh about my delivery. Like I feel bad about that. Like I feel bad about the way I reacted just because like I just don't think we should be fighting each other. And I think like of all the people we're attacking right now, like we're attacking the first black speaker of the House. Like I mean minority leader. He's not speaker yet. But like so and I don't like the way I responded to that criticism. Like nothing else this week bothers me that I did. But like, we all have short fuses and we're worried about things. That guy is just an idiot. But it's nice to know you're thinking about me. Truly. Wait, who said this? Hold on, I have to read something. Joseph said, "Thank you for the $50. Happy Friday, Felice. I think we really need to win these special elections and take control of Congress, or Krasnov is going to." I know. Krasnov, I think his job is to invalidate Congress. Krasnov is pretending there is no Congress. Hannah, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much for your lives. I appreciate all the information you provide. And I appreciate all you guys. And I am just trying to create a space where we can all learn without insecure people screaming the whole time. That's all. I love your brain, Chris. That's all it was. But I used to debate on the internet all the time. And yeah, men get very mad when you point out they don't know what they're talking about. So actually, just go to another live and yell in the chat. Like, that's the beauty of it until you get blocked. You don't have to hang out here, weirdo. Go. There's so many other lives to scroll through and harass people. Like, why mine? I take it as a compliment. He's been thinking about that for days, waiting for Pickles to go live so he could say something about it. How embarrassing. Wait, what live? Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm just updating live goal like everyone told me to. Yeah, I promise you guys. And if I ever make a mistake and my research is wrong, I'll tell you. But that's why I back everything up with resources, because I'm a perfectionist who was abused if I ever made a mistake. Like, I promise you, that's why I'm so well researched. And as a woman, if I'm not 100% right, I have to be 150% right. And men can be, 50, mediocre losers who don't understand the First Amendment, and they're like, I'm right, she's wrong. That's what's happening. I'm sure that must be what's going on. It couldn't be that you're an idiot. And I don't want to that's why I stopped debating because I could do charity and talk to idiots all day long, or I could find us information and educate all of us. Like, what is more worth my time? Like, I consider debates charity. No, I know, but I'm just saying that's why I block people. If you're going to scream in the chat and stop all of our ability to focus, I have ADHD. So people are always like, don't pay attention to people in the chat. But I have ADHD, so I do. And I like answering your guys' questions that are genuine. So it's like when someone is screaming in the chat, like, yeah, I'm going to block you because it's very distracting for me. And then it makes me feel like I'm like, because everyone to me who attacks me in my mind, it's like my mom. So I'm like, a narcissist is attacking me. Like, I'm just telling you psychologically why it triggers me. So then I just block people. Someone gave someone subs. Who was it? High vibration Franco. Thank you for whoever subbed. I appreciate it. Yeah, and it distracts the chat. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's why I blocked Shuck It on Monday. Is Shuck It on a live? Well, probably. But remember when I blocked Shuck It? And I've known him for like 3.5, almost 4 years now. Did he cry? Is he crying because I told him to shut up and then he wouldn't and then I blocked him? No. Everyone hates Shuck It. And I blocked him on Monday. He's not crying somewhere. Like, sometimes people, do you know how many people have me blocked? Many. I will tell you that. Like, oh, I have so many men stalking me on the internet. It's a compliment unless it escalates too far and then it's not anymore. Hey, Ben, you're the best. See, and Ben Dowdero's here, a real smart brain. Do you guys know who Ben is? I've read all of his research papers on Google Scholar. He's an actual genius. So, you are, Ben. You're amazing. People are always like, who's Ben? Or someone was like, who's Ben? And I was like, or I think they said, I know who that is. He hangs out with facts. And I was like, I don't think that's a good enough way to know who I was like, I feel like that is a mischaracter. I'm not saying you're not friends with facts, but like, I was like, I don't think that's I think he has a better resume than that. I think we should do Ben a solid and like learn about who he is before. I was like, that's not how I would describe him. Your Fax's sidekick, also a genius and a doctor and one of my favorite sociologists, and you provide research for many famous people that take credit for it. I think you're absolutely amazing. And it's sometimes the best brains don't get the credit for it. Yeah, I know. People, I'm so glad you guys know who he is because he's like, I think soon, actually. Yeah. Facts. So I'm an assistant, but my publishing record is on par with people who are associates. Well, yeah, your names are on a lot of things. You are credited in a lot of research papers, and I love research. Ben is a bit. See, people love you, Ben. Just don't be modest. People love you. Yeah. So this is my schedule for the weekend. So tomorrow, Fax and I are going to be back in a meeting with Will Westmoreland for the Back 40 pack, and then we'll see because he's been meeting with the DNC, and we're going to come up with a real plan. Because again, if you don't follow Will Westmoreland, definitely do. He's amazing. Ben is my friend. I love that. See, now you can claim him. Yeah, exactly, Ben. Just let people say you're awesome. It sucks. I can't receive compliments either. It's the worst. I'm getting better. That's why I go to therapy twice a week to learn how to receive compliments. Yes, Will's amazing. So tomorrow at 9 a.m., Fax and I have a meeting for the Back 40 pack where Will's been doing meetings and I think all the filings are done. It's a 501c3 and a pack. And so the goal is then to for Fax and I, as people who used to work in advertising and marketing, we're going to come up with some sort of rollout. And the goal is to reach rural people and say, hey, your right to education is being taken away. Your right to healthcare, rural hospitals are closing, we're going to come up with messaging. And then there's just going to be opportunities to all work together, which I'm excited about. We have some of the smartest people on earth in this community. And I'm excited to see how we can actually use the resources. So I'm going to do that. And then, Fax, we talked last on the phone. I'm just outing our life. We talked on Tuesday and we had the conversation, we need to start doing Mondays together again. So yeah, we'll start doing Fax and Felice on Mondays. I love those days. It's the amount of brain power going on in those lives. It's just It's awesome. So yeah, that's on the list, but it just depends on what happens in tomorrow's meeting is at 9 a.m. and then it depends on like if we have a ton of work to do, but Fax and I are always working together and like I'm a huge supporter of him. He's amazing. So yeah, we'll just see how tomorrow's meetings go and then I'll let people know in the Discord and we'll make plans. Can we have hours of your different programming days? What is Yeah, if I start, yes, 100%. If I start doing like Fax and Fleece Mondays again, that would be 8 a.m. Eastern time. It's super early if you're on the West Coast. But yeah, if I change any scheduling, I'll let you guys know. It's just life keeps lifing, and then we just yeah, I'll let you. No, I will definitely let you guys know what happens because I think if all goes according, I think it's a good plan to work on. If we can take back some of these special elections and decide how we work on this, like I think it's a very good opportunity. So I'll let you guys know after 9 a.m. tomorrow how it goes and how we go forward. But that is the plan, is to do something that we can all like feel like, hey, because I see you guys in the chat. People are always like, what are we going to do about this? And I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, I'm doing these things. I'm teaching people like, does this matter? Is this enough? And so turning it into action, like I said. And that's what I've been talking about in those meetings is hyper local town halls. Fax agrees with me and how we can like affect change. So would love to be a fly on that wall. Oh yeah. Yeah, the meetings are good. Lots of brain power, lots of political strategists and people who do math. Anyways, I'll let you guys know as soon as possible. I'm in a rural area and we appreciate your information efforts. Yeah. Well, Dr. Danny, right? On Tuesdays, I do a live with. She's the one that really opened my eyes to like rural health deserts and like how this is going to like rural America will be the first ones to suffer. Say what you want, but like truly, if you're in a rural area when Medicaid goes away, I mean, you're already in health deserts and then hospitals will close. You will be hours drives from the nearest healthcare. So yeah, like she's the one that made me super passionate about the importance of rural areas and then I'm a former teacher, so the school voucher thing, I understand. There's no private schools in rural areas. Like when money starts leaving public schools, when the Department of Education is defunded, rural areas will be crippled. Yeah, it's absolutely horrible. I met so many people. Yeah, I could talk about this. This stuff keeps me up at night. And that's why I love you guys. Like, I think we'll start doing on Fridays, like more where everyone can just come up and talk. Like, here's what I think. I'll do the meeting tomorrow morning. Fax and I will be there. And then we'll have more ideas because we were waiting for all of the financial paperwork to be in line. We have to sign all of our like NDAs, the paperwork that means, okay, now we all are in this together, and turn it in before tomorrow. So once we do that, then I'll be able to publicly talk about more of the things. And then maybe on Fridays, we'll do like we'll do like 2 hours and then we can like talk about all of our resources. Cause I realized last Friday on Pickles Live when people were coming up to talk about who they were, like I met a policy writer. I met so many interesting people that I was like, oh, we could all partner. There's so many people who have so much to give. And one of the main people that's working on the Back 40 Pack, he's a strategist from Colorado. So it's just, I think there's a lot of synergy to be had. Yeah, Sam, exactly. And I was like, oh, this is absolutely amazing. I met so many people. So yeah, we'll figure it out. There's going to be a lot of opportunities because I think like I say, the most important thing is that we leave it out on the field. Like whatever talents we all have, no one has to do something they don't know how to do. Like, let's just all utilize all the skills we have and work together. I think that's best. Anyways, I'm going to go check on my dad because he had to have an abscess taken care of today, and I'm going to make him some soup. I was going to, but I think I'm just going to take care of my dad today because he had a rough time at the dentist this morning and he's sick. So I'm going to take care of him and probably, yeah, this is my real hair. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But if I keep leaving it like this, it'll be like this big soon. I will, Jer. Jer, I tried to message you. Are you banned from messaging on TikTok? Message me on Discord your phone number or something, because I was gonna tell you I made you a mod, but then I could not message you on TikTok because it said that. Are you banned from messaging people? I tried. I didn't make you a mod and like not intend to tell you. I thought you were a mod this entire time, Jer. That's the funny part. You're like, how did I end up with mod powers? I literally thought you were a mod. I have some violations because I speak out against nonsense. I know. I tried to message you. I thought you were a mod the last 3 months. That's the truth. Yes, we should definitely raid Pickles and tell him I said hello. I literally, Jer, I thought you were modding for me for 3 months. And now, you guys, I gave Jer mod powers and he keeps just inviting people up here. Like he's invited like 30 people in the last 48 hours up here as a guest. Just keeps pushing buttons. Okay, who should we rate? No, I'm kidding. Jared's funny. Jared, I can't even push. I'm not allowed to push buttons in the Discord. I'm not allowed to push buttons anywhere because horrible things happen. Hold on. Who's live? Oops. That guy's yelling. That looks like an interesting video. Who is live? April. Does anyone tell me? Somebody tell me who's live because Oh, this is my back. I was like, I don't even see. Is Alina? Okay, I love Alina. Let's do. Do you guys know who Alina is? What is? I don't know what her hand. Can you post her handle? Because I love women who debate. Miss Alina Mina. That's what it is. Yeah, she's awesome. I love April too, and I love all these people. We have to pick one though. Alina is really. If you guys don't know who Alina, it's Miss Alina Mina. If you don't know who she is, I would say check it out because she truly is awesome. Like she used to be live all the time. I mean, with God, like with Mr. Jones and with what's Mr. Jones? Why can't I think of her name? What is Mr. Jones's girlfriend's name? What's her name? Why can't I? No Rats. Thank you. Yeah. So, and if you don't know Miss Alina Mina, I swear it's worth checking out. She has like 150,000 followers. She's pretty amazing. I like her. Or, sorry, 159.5. She's amazing. So I do. If you don't know who Miss Alina is, she's pretty cool. But also, I love April. I'm not saying don't rate April because I also love Miss April. She's amazing. But let's all make a decision. Go somewhere. Amanda is NORAD's. Yeah, same person. Yes, same person. Sorry. I also love African Knight. He lives in Arizona. Like, I love him and Shauna. They're amazing too. Anyways, I've got to go. I've got to go check on my dad, but have a great weekend. Later, Gators. And she